$1,000 in coverage.
Or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station, your home for the NFL, regular season, playoffs, and Super Bowl. It's Wildcats Radio 1290.
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
And a great Thursday afternoon to you. Welcome to the program. Busy day going on. It is press conference day up in Seattle for the NCAA tournament. The Wildcat men just completing their time on the dais. Tommy Lloyd, Jaden Bradley, Trey Townsend. Of course, not a lot of questions for the players. The locker rooms obviously are open during the NCAA tournament, so I'm sure most of the media was there getting their questions in the locker room and not in the press conference. But we'll hear from the players coming up. We'll hear from Tommy Lloyd later this hour. Desiree Reed-Francois, the athletics director at the University of Arizona, is in Seattle. She is going to join us momentarily. About that, momentarily. From practice, because I believe practice is happening right now for your Arizona Wildcats. So we will hear from Desiree and get a firsthand bird's eye view on what's happening in Seattle. I'm David Kelly, joined by my guy, J.W. Madden. Dragon Ball is on traffic for cricket. He'll join us a little bit later. The first day of the NCAA tournament. It is a special day in the United States. It's a day, as we mentioned last week, where not a lot of work necessarily gets done. I'm be interested. We got to do if we're not going to travel to this tournament. One year we might have to do the Thursday, Friday shows. We'll have to put together a sports bar deal and go out and see because I'd be interested. I don't know that I've ever gone out and watched the first round of the NCAA tournament at a bar here in Tucson. So I have no idea. Is this a big deal? JW obviously worked on the Strip, University Boulevard for a number of years. Was the first day of the NCAA tournament. Were there people down there hanging out at the bars, watching the games?
Yeah, well, I'm so old, DK, that back then downtown Tucson hadn't really been developed like it is now. So the university was the only place really to watch. So we had a ton of people there for the first weekend for sure.
Yeah. All right. I hear that phone ringing. That's probably Desiree Reed-Francois. So we will chat with her coming up. Also, we're going to chat with Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ on this show. He covers, obviously, the Wildcats. He also covers Grand Canyon, so we will hear from him. Both of those teams are in Seattle. Also, Lori Burkhart will join us from All Sports Tucson a little bit later in the show, and she will be down at McHale Center tonight. Arizona women's basketball taking on Northern Arizona in the WBIT. So let's head on up now over to Seattle and the arena in Seattle, where we're pleased to be joined by the athletics director for the University of Arizona, Desiree Reed-Francois. And Desiree, I'm going to make you a reporter here. I'm going to anoint you a reporter. Set the scene for what we've got at the arena right now in Seattle. We may have lost Desiree there. All right, we'll come back to. Nope, I think we lost Desiree.
Yeah, they just dropped. We'll get her right
come back to Desiree Reed-Francois, who is up in Seattle as our large contingent of Arizona Wildcats fans waiting on this appearance in the NCAA tournament with the Akron Zips. We had a chance to hear from Akron as well today. Their head coach, John Gross, who's a two-time coach in the Mid-American Conference, coached at Ohio and coached now with the Akron Zips. I believe we have Desiree Reed-Francois back with us. Desiree, can you hear me?
What he said was she was talking to somebody and she'd be right with us, DK, in a matter of seconds.
Okay, all right. Well, we will wait to have an opportunity to chat with Desiree Reed-Francois. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. So, J-Dub, the first day we were talking just about how this plays here in Tucson. First of all, if you're out watching the game somewhere, I want to hear from you. I want to know where the hot spot is here in Tucson to watch these games. Where are you at? Where are you going to be today? Where are you going to be tonight? Where are you going to be tomorrow watching college basketball? 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program.
For instance, when Arizona won the national championship in '97, I was sitting on Froggenfergen's porch in front of a television before every single bar in the area emptied out, and you might have seen pictures down on 4th Avenue of the entire street filled, and that was where we all were from Ben's and Frog and all those other places.
There you go. I mean, again, like you said, back then that was the place to be. Now we've got a few more different places where you can, head on out with your friends and watch these games. Obviously, big crew of folks were over at St. Philip's Plaza on Sunday to watch the Wildcats get their selection in this tournament to take on the Akron Zips. So we'll see how it all plays out starting at 4:30 tomorrow. A lady who is in Seattle right now with your Arizona Wildcats is Desiree Reed-Francois. And Desiree, I'm going to anoint you a reporter for the moment. So your crown is on. Set the scene for us in Seattle right now.
Okay. It is, well, first of all, I'm standing in a tunnel. I just went on a tour of this Climate Pledge Arena, and I'm checking out their premium spaces. So I tried to get a little bit of a quieter atmosphere, but it is wonderful. When I walked into the arena today, this young man stopped me, and he said, "Are you with Arizona?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Where does the team come out?" And I told him which tunnel, and I said, "Oh, are you from Arizona?" And he had an Australian accent, and he said, "No, I'm from Australia, and I came out here just to see." And I'm thinking he's coming out to see Del Orso. And he said, "No, I flew all the way from Australia because I really wanted to see Caleb Love play basketball." So I said, "Okay, I will make sure that you get a chance to meet Caleb Love." So the passion is here. It is exciting. It is loud. There's Arizona fans, and I love this open practice. And this is a beautiful arena.
Yeah, I mean it is, and this is like the most fun time of year. We were just talking a little bit at the top of the show about how not a whole lot of work gets done in the United States on the first day of the NCAA tournament. What are your memories of this, like the beginning of the tournament growing up? Were you one of those kids, even whether it was growing up or in college, where you had to steal away and go somewhere and see if there was a TV so you could see who was playing and what the games were?
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, so much so that I make my living in this industry. Yes, and now I get to just call it work. But, oh, yes, this is almost a national holiday. When I was growing up, this is what we did. You watch 49er football and college basketball. And, my husband was a walk-on basketball player at UC Davis. My son, but, obviously he's a basketball player. And this is all we do in our family. College basketball is just so incredibly important to us. So, and I'm fired up for tomorrow's game, but before that, our women have a big game tonight at 6:00, and I hope that everybody shows up and really shows out to have a really great atmosphere at McHale.
Yes, let's talk about the WBIT, and obviously we've hosted the WNIT before. What type of process was this with this new tournament in terms of the name? And obviously you were not here the last time, but walk us through the preparations for having to host this event this week and potentially tonight and then again on Sunday.
Absolutely. We really wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to showcase our women's basketball team locally, and our event management team and our administrative folks, we all got together and wanted to make sure and put together a competitive bid so that we can make sure Tucson was going to get a chance to host.
And there's no question about that. And it's interesting because I want to go back to your son Jackson, who's obviously on this team. This is not the second time he's been, because if I'm not mistaken, he went with Missouri when you guys were up in Sacramento a few years ago, because I remember you guys were up there the same time Arizona was up there that year.
We were, and I remember us having this conversation. my son and I were having the conversation because he was so excited to get a chance to play against Arizona, and so was I, but not really because I hate having to cheer against my alma mater. And we had this whole debate, and then all of a sudden when it turned out Arizona wasn't going to play, I was like, oh goodness, I feel a sense of relief. So yes, we were all up in Sacramento, and basketball tournaments are just so special, and you never take them for granted because they are hard to get to. And it's just it's wonderful to be able to see those young men who have worked so hard and our coaches who've worked so hard and all of the support staff to get a chance to be here in March Madness. I don't take it for granted, and I try and breathe in every moment.
We're chatting with Desiree Reed-Francois, the athletics director at the University of Arizona. It is Arizona men's basketball tomorrow against Akron. Arizona women's basketball playing Northern Arizona tonight in the WBIT. If they win, they'll advance to the second round, which will be Sunday at McKale Center. You obviously have been on the road for a while. We discussed that. I think the last time we talked, you were a very efficient Packer. And how's it gone so far? You were in Kansas City. Walk me through your time in Kansas City. What kind of stood out about the Big 12 tournament for you?
Kansas City is a great host, and the Big 12 did a really good job of having a great atmosphere. It was very professionally done. Last year was my first time in a while in Las Vegas, so I love being in Las Vegas, but I know the Big 12 is committed to Kansas City, I think, until 2031. But I have definitely made that inquiry. Like, wouldn't it be nice to have a West Coast presence as well? But I know we are in until 2031, and Kansas City is, I spent a lot of time in Kansas City and, at the prior stop, and it's a great place to be. We still have a lot of friends there, and actually had some former student athletes that came to the game, and we're converting them to Wildcats.
I think you were an honorary member of the Love family, weren't you? I saw you were seemed like you were right in the middle of the Love contingent that was there.
It was fun yesterday. The Love family, they are great people. And I think I've mentioned before, we tried to recruit Caleb. I think we tried to recruit Caleb twice before I got to it. Turns out I had to move to Arizona to get a chance to have Caleb Love as one of my student athletes. But his mother is just and father, they're phenomenal people. So really fortunate to have a chance to spend time with them. And yesterday was fun. We had a football recruit in town, and I met with him on an unofficial visit, and he was telling me that the young man's from St. Louis, and so we were giving him a tour and ran into Caleb Love, and it was wonderful to see how excited he was to talk to Caleb. He bumped into him, but it was a nice moment. So Caleb has had a really big impact.
Desiree Reed-Francois, athletics director at the University of Arizona, our guest. I want to ask you a quick question about, obviously, at the Big 12 tournament, Commissioner Yormark was there, and he held kind of his state of the conference. How much do you, as the AD, dive into some of the weeds, like, they're going to change the schedule next year from 20 games to 18 games? Is that something that, do you, have much of an opinion on stuff like the minutia of that as it relates to each individual team and how many games are going to be conference-wise and scheduling or all that? Or is that something that maybe falls underneath, your level?
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm incredibly detail-oriented, and every kind of that level of detail is very important to me. At 20 versus 18, I want to make sure I'm in alignment with Coach Lloyd, but scheduling is really important because you want to position your team for the postseason and for a deep tournament run. So all that level of detail, yes, that's really important to me.
And I want to ask you, obviously, about the remarks that Tommy had after the game at Kansas, where he kind of said, we need to ramp things up. We need to step our game up at McKale Center. What were your thoughts when you heard him say that? What are some of the conversations that you guys have had about improving the environment inside of McKale Center? I know that you guys have put together a fan council. Is that going to turn over every year? Can people that want to be a part of that be a part of that? How does that come together?
Well, I know Coach Lloyd's intent wasn't to disparage our fans. We have an incredible fan base, and I've seen we've heard from coaches and other staffs, and McKayle has a great home court advantage. Now, are we always looking for ways to improve our game day atmosphere from driveway to driveway? Absolutely. We want to look at all of the events. We want to look at the events surrounding the basketball game, the events surrounding the football game, and we can always work to improve that. And that's why we created that fan council. We did it at another place too, because we want to hear from people who genuinely care. Like, we may think we know how we should change it, but we haven't gone to every single game and sat in every single seat. And so I want to hear from people, and we do thousands of surveys. And this fan council is a direct line to us, and I want to hear what they have to say. And as we're developing both our short, medium, and long-term plans, their voices are important. But all of our fans' voices are important. And so I always appreciate people, and we read every survey, and we look at every survey on Mondays. We look at the compilation, and then we look at, all right, what are we going to do this week to try and get better? So you had another question. And fan council, how long do you stay on there? I believe it's a 1-year rotation, and then the group comes off.
Awesome. Well, Desiree, we always appreciate the opportunity to chat with you. I know you're going to have a fun time there in Seattle, meeting the fan base, and hopefully a lot of our folks are up there to cheer on the Wildcats, and we look forward to some more basketball throughout the weekend for both the men and the women, men up there and the women down here in Tucson.
Well, we are going directly from here to Newark, so fire up. And
man,
I will actually. I know. I actually booked a flight flight to Tucson on Monday morning. I think I have a 6 a.m. flight.
Okay.
Because the president has his installation on Tuesday, but then Tuesday I think I have a 5:30 p.m. flight that's going to get me Tuesday night over to Newark, New Jersey, and my husband's going to fly from California to Newark, New Jersey, and we are just fired up for, obviously we got to take care of business here, but then we can't wait to get to that Sweet 16 round.
Oh, and by the way, I knew you were on the road, so you didn't get a chance to get out to U of A golf this weekend, but I was out there. The fellas obviously won the Thunderbirds Intercollegiate, and I don't know if you heard our show yesterday.
How about that?
Exactly. I don't know if you heard our show yesterday, but, generally when I show up at the tournaments, they win. And so I think Coach Anderson wants to take me on the road, so I think we need to work on getting that in the budget.
Oh, you know what? You need to come out to every event then. Yes, absolutely. I have not been to enough baseball and softball games too. So in our spring sports, I think every single one of our spring sports is in the top 25, and they are just incredible. So I'm really proud of what they're doing, and golf had a great showing, and it's going to be a great spring. We're just going to keep this momentum going.
There we go. Have fun in Seattle, Desiree. Thank you.
Bear down. Go Cats.
Desiree Reed-Francois, the athletics director at the University of Arizona. All right, a lot to get to today. We're going to hear from Tommy Lloyd coming up next. He was just at the dais within the last hour in Seattle. We'll get his thoughts on this tournament, get some thoughts on growing up in Washington and coming home as the coach of a major college basketball team. DK on the Sports Tip, Dragon Ball getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the Auto Nation Honda and BMW of Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcat Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. A couple of incidents around town with some damages reported over at West Orange Grove Road and North La Troya Boulevard. This one's seeing some slowing on westbound Orange Grove and southbound La Troya as you approach that intersection there. Also, we have an incident with unknown injuries near Aviation Parkway at South Palo Verde southbound ramp and South Dodge Boulevard. Be prepared for some slowing there. For right now, we're at 80 degrees right now, but we're starting to cool off once we get to 5 o'clock. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report, learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
The jungle has moved afternoon, so grab your best Tucson tuxedo and join us on the Jim Rome Show weekdays from noon till 3 p.m. right here on the flagship home of your Arizona Wildcats, Wildcats Radio 1290.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
It's the $10,000 quiz show. Okay, contestants, these are things that save you money. Ready? Here we go. It's Tucson's only place to save up to 40% on all your favorite tobacco products.
Tobacco Barn.
You pay no city or state sales tax because they're on
the Indian Reservation.
And save up to another $3 off with a coupon at
TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
Excellent. Now for the big savings. At Tobacco Barn, you'll save up to
40% off.
And because they're on the reservation, you pay no
city or state sales tax.
And at TobaccoBarnTucson.com, you get
a coupon up to $3 off.
What you are if you waste your money shopping somewhere else.
Crazy?
Nuts.
Stupid?
A few tacos short of a combo plate?
Wow! Tobacco Barn, Tucson's most watched savings show. Nogales Highway, just south of Valencia. Check your local listings or TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Most plumbing problems start with a four-letter word: drip, leak, clog. Whatever your plumbing problem might be, you can trust Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing to deliver fast, honest, and reliable service by a plumbing expert that will find the right solution for your plumbing problems. Call us at 520-492-0748 or PicturoxCooling.com.
Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit GetEthos.com. That's GetEthos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Hi, Alex Medina, owner of Oro Ford. I was just saying to my ad agency the other day, if I could just get people to go to my website, they'd see the transparency. They'd see I don't have dealer add-ons, that my advertised discounts are on all my vehicles, not just a select few. I said to him, if I could just get people to go to oroford.com, they'd see the rebates are crystal clear and you save thousands with 2% lower taxes. It's all right there. My website is oroford.com.
Download our app. It slaps. Nobody covers Southern Arizona sports like we do. Don't miss out on any of the highlights, stories, and analysis. The flagship home for Arizona Wildcats athletics, Wildcats Radio 1290.
It's 4 a.m. and you're sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. If you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
DK on the sports tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. We'll get into our brackets coming up a little bit later. Those of us that filled one out, somebody is slightly un-American. We'll dive into all of that later. Again, the Wildcats met the media. Let's hear from the head coach of your Arizona Wildcats, Tommy Lloyd, who is from the state of Washington, grew up in Kelso, which is southern Washington. It's actually right between, kind of in the middle between Seattle and Portland. So I had a question I wanted to ask Tommy, but unfortunately we were unable to speak with him directly during the press conference today. So hopefully now the Wildcats have to win, so I can ask that question on Saturday, the next time that we'll have a chance to talk with him after tomorrow night's game. Let's hear from Tommy Lloyd of the Arizona Wildcats.
Great to be in Seattle. Great to be in the NCAA tournament. We're excited for the opportunity. Obviously, Akron's going to present a bunch of challenges. They've had a great season. Coach Gross has done a great job. So, hey, from my perspective, you throw the seeds out the window and you go out there and put 20 minutes on the clock, and score's going to be 0-0, and let's see what happens.
All right, questions from those in attendance, please raise your hand. We'll bring you a microphone. Down front here on the left.
Hi, Chris Talbot with the Associated Press. Nice to meet you. You have won 110 games in your first 4 years at Arizona, which is kind of mind-boggling. I wonder, what do you think that success stems from? What is it that's special about your coaching?
Well, I feel like we should have won 120. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything special about it. I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's just a simple approach. I'm pretty much a day-to-day guy. I try to, if I say something, I try to do it. And I think this day and age with players, I think, I'm I guess, hard enough on our guys, but I think that I have good enough relationships with them that I can do that. And listen, I love competing. I love competing. I love the challenge of it. Like, this year going to the Big 12, I know it's probably going to knock your winning percentage down a little bit. But I tell you, I enjoyed every minute of it. Even the tough minutes, like every day, just the challenge that this job brings, and you're kind of defined through competition. That's pretty cool. I don't think a lot of people get to experience that. Now, it makes it for maybe a different lifestyle than most people are living. Because your life is ebbing and flowing, on a ball going in a basket and you scoring more points than them, but getting back to what you said, I don't think I'm, anything extra special. I think I ended up in a great place, and I'm fortunate. So I'm thankful for my players, thankful for my staff, but, all I honestly care right now is about playing Akron tomorrow.
All right, questions. Go Tim Booth first.
Hey, Tommy, Tim Booth from the Seattle Times. Should we get the how many from Kelso, Longview area are coming up out of the way?
I don't know anybody from Longview, so.
I said area.
I'm sure there'll be some people from Kelso coming up, and, I have a great group of friends still from there. But what's really cool about it is, they figured this thing out that when I give them tickets, I get taxed on them. So like that's real, like there's this other side of it. And I kind of got that first couple of years, I didn't realize it. And I was getting these tax bills and I'm like, what? Like, what, so I honestly, I didn't have one friend request a ticket. A few of my family members did, but other than that, it's nothing crazy. So I hope there's a great contingent of them coming here. Cause it's I'm proud to be from Kelso and I'm proud to have great friends and great family from there as well.
Kind of along those lines, I'm wondering when you got here yesterday, was it weird because you hadn't come here yet this year for years, whether, with UA, but then also your time at Gonzaga, it seems like you were always over here. So was it strange at all?
No, honestly, it feels normal because I've done it so many times, but we didn't come up here last year either. It was kind of one of those quirky things in the schedule. We didn't play up here last year. So for the last 2 years, I haven't been here. What was cool is, my family is growing. My kids are older. They got significant others. We got a grandkid, and everybody's up here together on the trip. And we went out to dinner last night with one of my best friends I grew up with, Cody Morrison, and his parents, Rusty and Melissa, and his two kids. And what's cool is Cody's dad was my Little League coach, and had a huge influence on me. And almost get emotional, thinking about that. I'm up here now because of guys like him, and that means a lot. So, that was cool for me to go out to him. He was my Little League baseball coach, my youth football coach. Thank God he wasn't my basketball coach, But cool stuff like that. You know, I mean, that's what's cool coming back here. I don't get up here enough. You know, my life's moving pretty fast right now, but trust me, I've never forgot where I come from.
Lindsay. Lindsay first, then we'll go here and we'll go over there.
Hi, Tommy. Lindsay Schnell, The
Hey.
Athletic. You have coached a lot of great players in your time when you were an assistant at GU, obviously, and now at Arizona. I'm curious, when you get a guy who is like going to be a lottery pick, maybe, or even just go in the NBA draft, how does that make you a better or different coach? How do great players push you?
Wow. This, we're opening up the box here, Pandora's box, huh? You know, I think, you know, the expectations on these kids is so strong, and they're so public now with social media that you literally phrase your question as supposed to be. What does that mean? I mean, who has that right? Because you know what? It's really hard. I mean, here's the deal. There's probably 50 people that are supposed to be lottery picks. Well, only 15 can be. So what, the other 35 fail? I think learning how to navigate that is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, what's the objective? Well, the number one objective should always be to have a happy, healthy, productive life. And I think we put such expectations on these kids that they don't understand that if they're not that lottery pick, you know, you have an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid thinking they failed. And then you have the people around them that are associated with their success thinking they failed. And so what do? They push, they prod. And imagine being that 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. I mean, that's a lot. So I think a lot of times my job is just to help them manage that process and have them understand that development is a process. It's not an event. And everyone wants it to be an event. You know, you do this, well, that's going to come. But that's not how it works. It's a lot more complicated than that. So I think for me, it's made me a better coach, because I've had to step back and realize that, man, I got to help them manage not only the ups, but I really have to help them manage the downs. And then, you know what? But at the same time, I got to be the most maybe honest person in their life with basketball. Like, no, that's not good enough, or maybe you're not ready for that yet, or maybe that's not the right thing for this team. And then kind of walk them through that stuff. So yeah, it's a complicated process. But at the end of the day, I hope everyone steps back. And I know we got NIL, thankfully, but these are still kids. Just because they're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 26, whatever it is in college now, they're still young adults. They're still developing. And just because they make a few bucks doesn't mean people should be throwing shade their way.
Down in front to the right first, then we'll go over here.
Dev Lucas, WZIP Akron. You've been to the tournament each of the last 4 years. How do you take those experiences into this particular tournament?
Well, I think that you have to understand each team's journey is unique, and it's their first time as a team. So, you know, you have to acknowledge that. You know, you can't just say, hey, you know, 2 years ago this happened, and expect that lesson to be learned by everybody. You know, so I think that the coolest thing is about this tournament is it's one and done. You know, it's the coolest thing and the worst thing about it all together. So you have to have your team, you know, prepared to come out, you know, come out and play consistent basketball. And I think you really have to call on the things you've done all year. You know, that's the approach that I take. So, you know, thinking that, you know, I'm sure players that have been there, I mean, obviously there's probably a little bit of an advantage. I've played in a few tournaments, stuff like that. But all in all, I don't think it matters, because once that ball goes up, like I said, the score is 0-0. And, you know, and I don't think, you know, if one team hasn't been to the tournament as much as another, I don't think the team that hasn't been is going to say, well, you've been to the tournament more than we have, so we're going to take it easy. You know, I mean, that's just not how it goes. I mean, it's going to be, I mean, these games are knockdown, drag-out affairs, and you got to be prepared to compete like that.
Right down here in the front.
Damian Alameda, 13 News Tucson. Tommy, I know you talked a little bit about this on Senior Day, but what's the ride been like with Liam on your roster? And then now here in Seattle, for it to be kind of a full circle moment for him to have GCU also in the building.
Oh yeah, I mean that's cool. I thought you were saying the Washington thing. I was going to say we're from Spokane, not Seattle, so it's not quite full circle. The lines don't connect there. But it's been great having Liam around. You know, as a parent, what do you want? You know, you want your kids to have an opportunity to grow up and have a normal, happy life. You know, and you know you kind of as you get a little bit older and your kids get older, you kind of give up on the dreams of, hoping they're doing these amazing things and, this and that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with leading a normal life. I think Liam's on course of, leading a happy, normal life. He and Hallie have a young son, Luca. It's brought a bunch of joy to our family this year for us all to be together. My daughters are doing great. So, yeah, I mean, it's really cool having us all together, experiencing this stuff. Because, I've been doing this 26 years, and I've been very fortunate. It's my 26th time being in the NCAA tournament. My kids have grown up going to NCAA tournament games. So March for us has always been I don't want to say a home wrecker in our family, not a bad way, but it's disrupted our life to the point where at the end of these tournament runs, whatever happens, our kids are tired because they've been on the road with us. It's hard for them to go to school. We would fight tooth and nail to get them to go back to school because they're coming home, they're tired. They've been on the road for 3 or 4 weeks with us. So these are special times in our family's lives, and we have, lots of amazing experiences from, hotel security coming knocking on our door, telling us that our kids need to quit running up and down the hallway. Our kids would be playing tag, and and then you add in, how we grew up. We're with the Few kids and the Rice kids. I mean, our kids were, growing up, on the road together. So these are just really special times for our family that, it's been a kind of a unique way to raise a family, but also awesome experiences. So now it's really cool to have them all here as adults. So I know that's saying a lot there, but it's been really fun to have, Liam around this year. And, on a day-to-day deal, he and I it's just basketball, and then what's cool is, if he and Hallie don't want to cook dinner, which they don't often, they come up to our house and they have dinner, and we get to hang out with Luca. So that's been a lot of fun.
Only got a few more minutes. We'll go to Jason, and then we'll go there and there.
Jason Shear, Wildcat Authority. Talked to a few players in the locker room, and they said one of the biggest emphasis this week is shut off all the outside noise. Just don't pay attention to it, don't welcome it, any of that. What is the importance of that with the players, especially this week?
Well, I mean, I think it's important. I've really become disciplined and learned how to do that. So, all these things, if you don't acknowledge them, this chatter and all this stuff, it's just stuff that's floating out there and it doesn't stick to you. And so I think it allows you to be, maybe the most authentic version of yourself, and so, we've talked about that with our guys, and, hey, I'm not, putting limits on their phone. They have to have the discipline to do that themselves. And I think it's important. I think it's important to just, hunker in on your deal, pour yourself into your teammates. You've worked all season for this, and come out and try to give it your best effort, because we know you could play good tomorrow and lose, so there is not much room for error.
Brian Peterson, AZ Desert Storm. Coach Gross has mentioned a couple times that he has studied some of your past teams at Arizona to put together the offense he's done this year. How does that make you feel that someone is studying what you've accomplished, and then does it have to change how you approach a game?
I wish you would have told me that 4 days ago so I could change our offense. I mean, no, listen, it's flattering. Like, hey, I mean, listen, every coach is a thief. A lot of the best ideas are things you get, watching something on TV or deciding to study another team. And yeah, I mean, that's cool that people do it. I mean, I'm doing it all the time. I mean, I'm watching his teams play and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I mean, I just think that's how the coaching mind works. So, nothing that I'm doing with basketball hasn't probably been done before. I probably learned it from somewhere else, but I know this. I mean, I'll say this, and I've said it, when John was coaching at Illinois, they came up and played us when we were at Gonzaga, and they beat us at a point where, I mean, we're talking maybe 2 or 3 people had ever done that. And he was, really innovative. He was doing things on the offensive end of the floor that we really hadn't seen much of. And so, yeah, so I mean, I have a lot of respect for him as a coach, and for him to say something like that, I mean, that's cool. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's our 2 teams are going to go on the floor tomorrow, and he and I aren't playing against each other. I mean, it's going to be the guys out there figuring it out.
All right, with apologies to the Zoom, we'll take one more here from Lindsay, and then we'll call it a day. Go ahead.
Tommy, I'm curious, you said that you had dinner last night with your old Little League coach and got emotional talking about it. Did you express that to him? Hey, I want you to know I'm at this point in my life because of you. Can you tell us a little bit about that conversation?
Yeah, I did. I did. I thanked him, for being a great coach. I don't get to see him, much often anymore. And yeah, it's cool. That was one of the cool things growing up the way I did. I grew up in a small town where you played all the sports, and you pretty much all your best friends were your teammates. And those are still the guys that are coming that used to bug me for tickets that aren't bugging me anymore for tickets. They're just coming. So, that's a cool way. And, my dad, grew up in a way where he really didn't get to play sports because of his family situation. And he was a guy, he had like a lawn mowing business at 12, and then he worked, and he was a carpenter at 18. And he worked his ass off to kind of break a cycle. And for how his family was, so our family could be different. And that's the real right there. I never had to do that. I had a great childhood. So, Rusty would do a lot of the coaching, and my dad was usually the sponsor and was around, and didn't know much sport, but my dad was busy, and it was really cool that he was around for all that stuff. So, I appreciate all those memories. And then listen, that's why I coach. I coach because of those experiences I had. From the coaches, I can, we don't have time, but I could probably list every coach I had and what they meant to me, and that's special stuff. I hope that doesn't get lost on today's generation, because, those were, my mentors, and I didn't even know what the word mentor meant back then. I'm 6, 7, 8 years old, but those mentors and those experiences are stuff that I carry in my life, to today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
All right, that's the head coach, Tommy Lloyd, today. Media availability in Seattle. We'll hear from the players as well. Coming up later this hour, DK on the Sports Tip, Dragon Ball, getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. We have an incident over at South Nogales Highway with unknown injuries. This is near Quail Crossing Boulevard. Prepare for some slowing there on South Nogales Highway. And reminder, 6th Street between Stone and Church Avenue is still closed until the end of the year. Westbound 6 will be directed northbound at Stone and 6th Street intersection. Eastbound 6 can use either Granada or Church Avenue to get around that. For your weather, still at 80 degrees. We're going to stay there. And then tonight, going down to the 60s at 9. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Arizona Lottery. When you play the Arizona Lottery, there's always a chance you'll win big. But there's also a guarantee that you'll be giving back to the community. There's joy in it all. Love the play with scratchers, draw games, and more from the Arizona Lottery.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online, no medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample Rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like, give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's, let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out. Because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
Most protein bars are packed with sugar, carbs, and unpronounceable ingredients. There's a much better option. I'm Will, and I crafted IQ Bar plant protein bars with clean, functional, delicious ingredients to empower doers like you with superior brain and body fuel.
Now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text EAT to 64,000. That's EAT to 64,000.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet. You're listening to the Jim Rome Show.
The Dodgers' exorbitant spending is good for baseball. What? Are they not supposed to try? Are they not supposed to create a world-class organization? Are they not supposed to attempt to procure the best talent possible in a talent procurement business? Are they not supposed to reinvest the money they've earned legitimately in their product? In other words, what are we even talking about here?
The Jim Rome Show, weekdays at noon right here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
You know it. Your neighbors know it. And let's face it, the mailman knows it too. Your yard just isn't what it used to be. But thankfully, Dorado Rock Materials can get you, well, your yard anyway, back to what it once was. And even better. Dorado Rock Materials has just what your yard needs, from decorative rock to boulders and everything in between, brought right to you. And if you need help spreading it, we can help with that too. Dorado Rock Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
This is Bill Ryder with a Sports Minute sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The Detroit Lions have reportedly pitched a fascinating new approach to the NFL playoff seeding. Division winners would still get into the playoffs, but the seeding would actually follow record. And so if you're some random team that wins a bad division at, let's say, 9-8, you're not necessarily having a home field advantage game. It makes sense, and I hate it. I'm Bill Ryder.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
$6 billion and
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. The NCAA tournament is underway. We've got an upset. The team that knocked out your Arizona Wildcats last year knocked out today. McNeese, whose coach is probably on the way to North Carolina State. Remember Will Wade? He was one of the coaches that got caught up in that whole NCAA mess that ensnarled the Arizona Wildcats men's basketball program. He was down at LSU at the time. He is on the comeback trail. Think about that. Think about this. You got Will Wade, who was ensnarled. who's likely going to get the North Carolina State job after taking McNeese to the NCAA tournament for a second straight year. You've got Sean Miller, who was ensnarled, who's now, his name is coming up possibly if and when Texas dispatches of Rodney Terry. There's people that are saying that Sean Miller could be on the short list for Texas. How about that? Two of the coaches that were caught. Remember, what was the name of that movie on HBO that came out that they did on the whole the NCAA scandal? I did a story on it when I was at Channel 4. Now I cannot remember the name of it, but both of those guys, Sean Miller, Will Wade, were on tape. It'll come to me. But yeah, both those guys in position now to get better gigs on the comeback trail. We'll talk about that today if you'd like. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. Okay, so J-Dub, did you have McNeese? I did. It does not look like you did.
McNeese State over Clemson? No.
Yes.
I had Clemson winning that game. I did.
Okay. Yeah, I had McNeese. So that's one for me.
So it's always been McNeese State.
Yes.
Right?
McNeese State, correct.
Right.
As far as I know, I don't know. I
heard you say McNeese 4 times, and I had to look it up to see if they changed their name because I always heard it as McNeese State.
Yeah, McNeese State. Exactly. Yeah. Let's see. What other games do we have final right now? Purdue is advanced. They beat High Point. That was a little close early, 75-63. We'll get into all of our BetQL, BetMGM, I should say, picks as well.
The first, we should get to the McNeese-Clemson game because that's not the whole story. Clemson ended up losing 69-67.
Yeah.
After being down 31-13.
Right.
At the half.
Yeah.
31-13 was the deficit. So they outscored McNeese State 54-38 in the second half just to lose by 2. So that was a story of 2 halves, DK.
No surprise, Gonzaga buries Georgia. Who did I have in that one? I think I had Gonzaga. Gonzaga, Georgia. I had Gonzaga.
Maybe we should do this like you do the scoreboard updates.
You had Georgia. That's 0 for 2 for you now, brother.
No, I didn't have Georgia.
You did. It says right here. It says Georgia on your sheet, brother.
Okay.
I'm looking at your sheet right now. It says Georgia. Okay, so
so I spent 5 minutes putting this together, as I do as my tradition for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So you plan on spending the next 3 weeks just bragging about how much better you are at picking NCAA tournaments? Is that how this whole thing's going to go?
I didn't spend any more than 5 minutes on mine either. I did it right before I went to bed.
I understand. My point is I don't care. Like, I think my joy comes from the NCAA tournament, from the stories, and from the teams that nobody's ever heard of making a name for themselves. Filling a bracket together and looking at every single result and then judging my worth based on how well I predicted that tournament is not how I live my life.
All right,
so
well,
have fun with that.
Okay, we will. We absolutely will.
I hope you do.
Final 4 teams. I have Michigan State, Florida, Duke, and Houston. I didn't go too far out on a limb.
Well,
3
there's so many seniors,
and a 2.
right? It's not like the real story, DK, is this is not like past tournaments. The NIL and transfer portal era allows for so many seniors to transfer. You just look no further than Auburn with their 10 seniors and 22 and a half starting lineup. So those past years where you'd have the big name programs lose out, who did they lose to 20 years ago? Who did the big name programs with all their lottery picks lose to? They lost to small name schools with 6 seniors on the roster. That was why the small schools were able to beat some of those bigger programs. So now that's all flipped on top of its head because a lot of those guys, I mean, look no further than Trey Townsend. So a lot of those guys who would have stuck together, those four-year guys in their class, sticking together at a small school and having that one trip to the NCAA tournament as a junior or senior as that whole class, and having that opportunity to upset the likes of Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, Arizona, those kind of schools, that's kind of not a thing anymore, just because so many of those juniors and seniors at those small schools are now taking the money that they can now get paid to go to some of the bigger schools. So I think the chalk is probably more likely, is what I'm saying. I think it's less likely that you're going to hear a lot of stories of 14s making runs to the Final Four. Now we're into the future just because the NIL and transfer portal era is just so different than it used to be in college basketball.
I have 3 1s and a 2. You have 3 1s and a 4. You have Arizona in the Final Four. I have Duke as one of my 1s. And my champion is Florida. I went with the Gators because I think right now they are the hottest team and beating people by a lot. And you've got the Wildcats winning the championship. So we'll keep an eye on all of this as we go along. Other scores from earlier.
What's Dragon Ball's tournament looking like?
Yeah, it's not.
Because, okay, so here's the story, listeners. David Kelly texted us at midnight last night and said, I'm going to have you two fill out a bracket. So I spent 5 minutes and I threw it together on ESPN and I sent it to him. You're saying Dragon Ball did not do that?
He did not do that. No.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll speak with him about his inadequacies here coming up. BYU beat VCU 80-71.
About starting this the way you do scoreboard.
Yeah.
We should lead with the Big 12 schools.
There we go.
Who are?
I'm just kind of leading by what I see first.
Big 12 schools so far have not lost.
No. Who else we have here? Wisconsin beats Montana 85-66. So Wisconsin and BYU will play on Saturday in the round 2. Houston will play Gonzaga. Houston buried Southern Illinois, Edwardsville, 78-40.
I feel bad for any team, DK, that has to play the Houston Cougars that has never seen them before.
Yeah.
Because how do you prepare for that? Nobody plays basketball like they do.
Not at all. And Louisville loses to Creighton, 89-75. I had Louisville. I know I had Louisville on mine. So that's a loss for me on that one right there. All right, so we'll keep you up to date. Those are all the finals that we've got on the board right now. Auburn and Creighton will play in that'll be a 1-9 game on Saturday. Auburn is a number 1 seed, so they're the first number 1 seed actually the second, with Houston also advancing, and Auburn is already a 9.5-point favorite over Creighton. No line yet on the Houston game against Gonzaga. All right, DK on the sports tip. Much more coming up for you. We're going to hear from the Arizona players, or the two that were at the dais up in Seattle. We had Jaden Bradley. We had Trey Townsend. You'll hear from them. We're going to check in with Jordan Ham, get his thoughts on Arizona and Grand Canyon, both sharing the same space up in Seattle. We'll get you set for Arizona women's basketball tonight. Lori Burkhart will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. Also, we'll check in with Skylar Jones and Adia Barnes. As Skylar Jones, one of the players who will be on the floor that's not completely healthy tonight, but gutting it out, or as she likes to say, thugging it out for her team. That is a 6 o'clock tip-off tonight at McHale Center. Coverage will begin at 5:45 on Freedom 1400. Derek Palmer will be on the call. Much more straight ahead. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Accident reported with injuries over at North Stone Avenue and East Roger Road, slowing things in both directions of Stone as you get to the intersection there. And westbound Speedway Boulevard, if you're approaching Country Club, stay to the left, do the gas line work there. That should be done by tomorrow, though. In the meantime, for your weather, still at 80 degrees, going to stay that way for the next hour, but we'll start cooling off at 5 o'clock once we get to the 70s. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off, free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Don't miss out on any of the action as the University of Arizona takes on the Big 12 Conference.
Bradley for 3. Jaden Bradley has come alive in the second half.
You're listening to the flagship home of Arizona Wildcats athletics. Wildcats Radio 1290.
It's Truck Month at Oro Ford, and the savings are huge. Get $11,000 off MSRP on new 24 Ford F-150s. Or take $13,000 off MSRP on a new 25 Ford Expedition. Want adventure? Drive home a new 24 Ford Bronco with $6,000 off MSRP. And here's the best part. Oro Ford is an easy drive from anywhere in Tucson, and you'll pay 2% less in taxes. Only at Oro Ford. Oro Ford, where Tucson saves on trucks. Restrictions may may apply. See Oro Ford for details.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Wildcat fans, Taco Bell is a proud partner of Arizona Athletics and is ready to serve you. We're open for breakfast. Fire up your mornings with breakfast at Taco Bell. You've heard about Happy Hour? Well, try Happier Hour at your local Taco Bell for $1 beverages. From 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., choose any regular freezes or medium drink for $1. It's the happiest time of the day. Taco Bell is locally owned and operated and is looking forward to serving Wildcat fans. Stay safe, bear down, and live Mas.
The cold Arizona nights are here. Is your furnace ready? For just $59, Rightway is offering a complete system tune-up, ensuring your furnace runs efficiently to keep your home comfortable all season long. Routine maintenance is key to avoiding costly breakdowns. And with over 9,000 5-star Google reviews, you can trust Rightway to get the job done right. Plus, we'll include a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Call Rightway today at 520-640-2665 or visit us at rightwayac.com for your $59 complete system tune-up.
Will Arizona get back to the Final Four for the first time in 24 years? The road opens Friday when the Wildcats face Akron in the NCAA tournament. Our coverage begins at 1 with Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day on Wildcats Radio 1290.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. No one is talking Roadrunners, Sugar Skulls, and FC Tucson like us. We are Southern Arizona's #1 sports station, Wildcats Radio 1290.
DK on the sports tip, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hour number 2 of our program on this Thursday. NCAA tournament time. Games are underway right now. We've got Tennessee and Wofford on the TV. Tennessee is a number 2 seed in the Midwest. I think there are games in Cleveland, but I think those are tomorrow, so I'm not sure where this particular Midwest region is. But it's going to be fun to see all of these games play out over the course of the next 4 days this weekend to get to the Sweet 16.
This one's in Rupp.
Oh, okay, Louisville. Lexington.
Yep.
Lexington hosting the NCAA tournament. That's awesome. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Then I'm going to get in on the program.
The funny part was you mentioned Louisville.
Yeah.
Also St. John's. There are a lot of Kentucky adjacent coaches, right?
Right.
And the St. John's thought that there was a chance they might get slotted to the Rupp Arena Lexington pod. That would have been quite interesting.
It would have been. Well, again, they're always looking for storylines, but apparently they did not choose those for this particular setting, to have those former coaches go back to their old stomping ground. But that would be cool. That would have been cool for sure. All right, we had a chance to hear from Jaden Bradley and Trey Townsend a little bit earlier up in Seattle. Well, let's find out what the players had to say as they get ready for their Friday showdown with the Akron Zips.
Jaden, just kind of what's your guys' expectation coming in, getting the practice in today, and kind of what you guys are anticipating stepping on the floor tomorrow?
We just, everything's focused on Akron right now. Getting our game plan together. We got a little bit of time, trying to put our game plan and trying to do everything we can to execute and come up with that win tomorrow.
Questions? Raise your hand. We'll bring you a mic. We do have a question from the Zoom, so why don't we go ahead and take that. David Kelly from KCUB. Go ahead, David.
Hey, for both Jaden and Trey, when you guys look at this Akron offense and just the sheer number of guys that can shoot threes, what do you see and how similar is it to what Texas Tech does? Because obviously they're another team in your league that was able to shoot threes from a lot of different positions.
Yeah, I think it all just comes down to what Jaden was saying for the last question, really honing in on the game plan to limit those threes, because obviously they can shoot it pretty well, but, we played in a really tough conference this year against a lot of teams that could shoot it. So we've experienced it before, but, they're another talented team. Obviously, everyone in this tournament is super talented, so we're going to go and try to execute the best we can and limit those threes.
Any more questions? Raise a hand with a question. All right, there you go, Tim.
Trey, you obviously were playing in the tournament last year with a different school. What did you take away from that sort of experience with Oakland that you had last year?
Yeah, that was such a special time for me. Growing up, I always wanted to go to that school and to have that special year. It's something I'll cherish forever. And then coming here, it kind of gave me the mindset of really showing that really any team can beat anybody in this tournament. So knowing that Akron feels the same way that, I did on that Oakland team last year, it's kind of put me in a more, I'd say, like a leadership role for this tournament. Just knowing that they're coming in thinking they can, beat us, and that's how every team feels. So we can't take anything lightly, because obviously I was on the other side, the good side of it last year, and, definitely don't want to be on the bad side of it this year. So just trying to make sure everyone's locked in and playing against them like, it is a one seed. Everyone is a one seed. As our coach has been saying, there's no upsets really in this tournament. Everyone's really good. So you just got to come in, and whoever executes the best, has the most energy, and, just has, plays the best is going to win. So we're going to try to do that.
And quick follow-up. How do you express that to your teammates? Do you just show them video of you winning last year, or how do you get that across to them that upsets can happen in this situation?
It's no surprise that upsets can happen. You see it every single year. Once the month of March started, I'm sure on everyone's social media they were just seeing historic upsets. It's really something I don't think that needs to be hammered too hard, because this group of guys takes things very serious. Obviously, we started the season kind of shaky and bounced back from that, so we've gone through adversity a lot this year. And this group of guys isn't one to take anybody lightly, but it's just sort of, if you might see a guy slacking off or just not taking some small things super serious, just hammering those home. But this group of guys is so determined and, excited to be here. I'm sure we're ready for it.
We'll go back to the Zoom for David Kelly, KCUB. Go ahead, David.
For Jaden, just how does this offense change when you can get the performances like you got from Trey in the 2 wins in Kansas City, and then KJ coming off the bench and basically doing a little bit of everything, both offensively and defensively? How does this offense change when you get such huge contributions from those two guys specifically?
Yeah, that's what makes our offense, so different. We got so many pieces that could come in and, just give us different looks. Like you said, Trey can stretch it from the outside, he can go in, dominate smaller defenders. KJ brings that energy. C-Love's going to be C-Love. We got Deli, we got Carter. We just got so many different pieces and at different moments, different times, not knowing whose night is going to be. And I feel like that's what makes our offense so dangerous.
All right, any more questions from here in person? Anyone on the Zoom who might have another question, please raise your hand with the raise your hand button.
All right, those were the players a little bit earlier today. Jaden Bradley and Trey Townsend up in Seattle, where the Wildcats will take on the Akron Zips. So that'll be a 4:30 tip-off tomorrow. Our coverage will begin at 1 o'clock right here, 1 o'clock with your Meridian Wealth Management Arizona game day.
Scheduled for 4:30, but as we all know, when you get tip-offs that later in the day, the chances of it starting on time are not always 100%.
They can slide it for sure. They've been known to slide those tip-off times just a little bit. All right, it is time now for that time you've all waited for, your BetMGM Network play of the day. And this BetMGM top play is brought to you locally by Oral Ford at 3950 West Highway 77 in Oracle.
Does anybody like Michigan tonight? I'm Sammy P, here to help you beat the books with the BetMGM Network. San Diego's good. Their guards are great. They turn you over, but they don't play anybody. Look at this Michigan money line. You can go minus 140 at BetMGM, and that's a bet you have to consider. I'm Sammy P from the BetMGM Network. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today, and please gamble responsibly.
Hi, Alex Medina, owner of Oral Ford. I was just saying to my ad agency the other day, if I could just get people to go to my website, they'd see the transparency. They'd see I don't have dealer add-ons, that my advertised discounts are on all my vehicles, not just a select few. I said to him, if I could just get people to go to oralford.com, they'd see the rebates are crystal clear and you save thousands with 2% lower taxes. It's all right there. My website is oralford.com.
All right, so the folks from BetMGM have given us a bunch of losers so far. I mean, a bunch of losers. By the way, the Wildcats, if you are selecting them to win the national championship, like J.W. Madden did, they are plus 5,000 right now. So you are going to get a pretty nice chunk on that $12.90 bet. In fact, let's tell you how much you could get on that $12.90. You could win $645, J-Dub, if you go to the Desert Diamond Casino right now and put that $12.90 on your Arizona Wildcats.
You don't know the rule of the number one rule of betting?
What's that?
Never bet with your heart.
Oh, exactly.
Right. So this isn't I'm not predicting Arizona to win because I necessarily clinically think that will happen based on combing through all the stats. It's just tradition. Those of us born here, especially in the 70s and 80s, and watched all those great teams make deep runs, always hope that the Arizona Wildcat basketball team can put it all together this time of year and get past the first round and then the second round, and then who knows what could happen.
Keep hope alive, for sure. All right, so the BetMGM people said take High Point and the 8.5 points today against Purdue. That did not work out because Purdue won that game by 12, so that was a loser. Ryan Horvat, who's in the mornings on the BetMGM network, he was all over Virginia Commonwealth. Who was the coach that kind of brought them to
Shaka Smart?
Shaka
right?
Smart, yeah. Shaka Smart. Shaka Smart ain't coaching there no more.
No, that was like 10 years ago, wasn't it? It's been a minute.
Yeah, he's somewhere now. I don't know.
He went to
where.
Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is at now, but I know he was at Texas for a while, but he's not there now.
Why can't guys win at Texas? I mean, every all the teams win at Texas except for men's basketball. That's kind of weird. Because, like we mentioned earlier, it appears they're going to fire Rodney Terry.
So
now.
he was at VCU from 2009 to 2015, Texas from 2015 to 2021, and currently is the head coach at Marquette.
Ah, yes, Marquette. I knew he was somewhere for sure, but I was not remembering. So Ryan Horvat had Virginia Commonwealth plus 2.5, and he had Virginia Commonwealth on the money line. Neither one of those two things came to fruition.
I guess Mr. Horvath hadn't seen BYU play these last couple of months.
Apparently, he did not. No, I would have not taken that. Even I had BYU all the way.
The only team that's beaten BYU in 2 months is Houston. Right?
Exactly.
So,
I was like, hey, I mean, I think I have BYU in the Elite Eight in my pool.
They're playing really well.
Hey, so I don't know if we're going to be able to see him because I don't think his camera's working here. So we'll try and see. Yeah, there we go. We can see him. So, Dragon Ball, how far do you have BYU going?
I didn't make a bracket. I came up without time there.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Did you grow up in the United States?
I did. I spaced out on making my bracket.
Come on, Dragon Ball. You didn't do a bracket.
I didn't do a bracket. No,
Oh my goodness. Is this a regular thing for you, not doing a bracket?
I've probably missed out on brackets like
Oh
once
my
every 3 years or so. This is my 3-year hiatus. Or my once every 3 years hiatus. I shouldn't say that I only do it once every 3 years. It's every 3 years I forget once to do it. But no, I mean, BYU, if anyone's saying that the BYU wasn't going to at least get to the Sweet 16 out of their bracket, it's because they don't watch what BYU does. I mean, like you said, J-Dub, they haven't lost seemingly in almost 2 months. And you're dealing with a 1 seed in Houston. That was the last time that they lost to somebody. I mean, they're a tough squad. They're a tough out in their bracket.
The last game that BYU lost was the game after Arizona beat them in Provo, and that was a big loss to Cincinnati by 18 points. And that, guys, was the 8th of February. So other than the Houston Cougars, who haven't lost to anybody this year, that's the only team that's beaten BYU since February 8th.
Yeah, I have them in my Elite Eight playing Duke. So that's how much I think that they're gonna. I'm convinced. I've been convinced about that team for a while, that they've got what it takes to go deep in there. And they scored 80, which is kind of right around where they normally are. All right, so since you didn't fill out a bracket, Dragon Ball, do you want to venture to just say who you think? Or do you have an idea of who your final four teams are going to be?
I want to just say, first and foremost, the main thing I want to get after is the idea that there is a SEC versus the field is nonsense. I think the SEC versus the field nonsense is absolutely that. It's a crock. I think the SEC has a lot of good teams in here, but I think in the grand scheme of things, you're going to see maybe only about 2 SEC squads in the Elite Eight this year. That's my personal thought.
Right,
I think just 2.
I'm going to write that down.
But for each of the I mean, I haven't really seen any of the regions, so I don't know who would be qualified to go into the Elite Eight.
So you said
the Final
2
Four.
SEC teams in the Elite Eight or the Sweet 16?
2 SEC teams by the Elite Eight. That's going to be all
they
that's left.
They are 0 for 1.
Yeah.
And, Auburn won today, and there's 2 SEC teams playing as we speak. But Georgia
Tennessee's
also
playing.
lost. So they're now 1 and 2. 2 teams are gone, and currently we've got Kansas and Arkansas playing, and Tennessee is up 19-8 on Wofford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that the whole thing about the SEC being a deep conference this year, I don't believe it. But for each of the regions figuring out the Final Four, I haven't even really looked at any of the regions to figure out who would be my Final Four team. So I got research to do. Admittedly, I have research to do.
All right. Well, I don't know if that's real fair. If you're going to come back on Monday and tell us who your Final Four teams are.
I think research time is
Final
past.
Four teams by the. I need Final Four teams by the end.
Yeah,
of
no.
the day.
My traffic scheduling has thrown my ability to do that off a little bit.
My good. This is the young man who grew up playing Quidditch.
I did not play Quidditch. I did play-by-play for Quidditch. There's a difference.
Worse. Like he wasn't even playing.
That's even worse.
Play-by-play.
I had to learn the rules to talk about the rules on the radio. That was what I had to do.
All right. He is Dragon Ball, and I don't even know if he can get you home correctly because he couldn't even fill out a bracket.
No, I could get you home. And from the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. If you're traveling down North Oracle Road right now, be prepared. You got 2 crashes to watch out for right now on that road. Possible injuries over at West Drachman Street and North Oracle Road. A lot of slowing on Oracle as you approach that intersection. And we have another one with unknown injuries. This one at East Golder Ranch Drive in Oracle. A lot of slowing, particularly on southbound Oracle as you get to that intersection there. For your weather, we're currently at still 80 degrees. We're going to be cooling down, though, once we get to 5, going all the way down to the 70s once we get to 6 p.m. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. At Jackson Hewitt, expert tax prep is now $149 or less, but only for a limited time. Hurry, book your appointment at jacksonhewitt.com today. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/49-149.
Did you miss the big game?
They need a 3 to get to overtime.
You know we got you covered.
Midcourt, shot is up. Good! Love has hit a 3. We're going to overtime.
Trying to keep it close, and you never give up. I guess that's life in the Big 12.
Wildcats Radio 1290.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the local's choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
The madness is here, the excitement, the upsets, and the thrill of the game. But when it comes to the game of life, don't let the unexpected leave you on the sidelines. Set a game plan this March to protect your loved ones with life insurance. I turned to SelectQuote to secure our coverage and couldn't believe how easy and affordable it was. I'm 40, and my $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. My wife's also 40, and her $500,000 policy was only $16 a month. Plus, with their same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Be the MVP of your family this month by protecting their future. Some policies are less than $1 a day.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-862-1122. That's 1-800-862-1122. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-862-1122. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Hey, it's David Kelly, DK on the Sports Tip. Don't forget to download the Wildcats Radio 1290 app. It slaps. We've got full coverage of the Wildcats, the Suns, the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, Pima College. Download the Wildcats Radio 1290 app today.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Vikings will not be pursuing quarterback Aaron Rodgers, leaving just the Giants and Steelers as his best options in 2025, according to NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero. Pelissero also reports that Minnesota has rejected multiple trade offers for quarterback J.J. McCarthy as they plan to move forward with him as their starter. Meantime, Alabama held their Pro Day Wednesday in Tuscaloosa, showcasing NFL prospects, including quarterback Jalen Milroe, who ran an impressive 4.37 40 time. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero reporting that Milroe recently had dinner with the Steelers and head coach Mike Tomlin. Linebacker Micah Parsons is still in search of a new contract as he heads into the final year of his rookie deal. However, NFL Network's Jane Slater reports the Cowboys and Parsons have yet to begin any meaningful talks. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
The tournament is here, and Total Wine & More is your slam dunk headquarters. Whether you're cheering courtside from your couch with crisp craft beers, smooth bourbons, or refreshing seltzers, we've got the perfect lineup to keep your watch party winning. And just like your bracket, we've got a lineup full of contenders. Whether you're picking favorites or going for bold upsets, our friendly guides will help you find amazing drinks for every matchup. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Arizona basketball will be on the floor Friday up in Seattle, but they won't be the only team from State 48 that will take the floor in Seattle for the first round of the NCAA tournament. The Grand Canyon Antelopes are also up in Seattle for this opening weekend of the Big Dance. We're pleased to be joined by Jordan Ham from Sports 360 AZ. And Jordan, this is a great time to be an Antelope, especially an Antelope Hoops fan, because both the men and the women are going dancing. And again, it's really been phenomenal to watch the rise of these two basketball programs here within our state.
Yeah, it's been really impressive to see what Bryce Drew has done on the men's side. And, not only that they've made the past couple tournaments, but last year they made some noise. And it feels like they were kind of getting hot at the right time this year. They were the 2 seed going into the WAC tournament and able to take care of business. And then on the other end, the job that Molly Miller has done on the women's side has just been incredible. They're 30-2. They hold the longest winning streak, 32-2. They have a 30-game win streak right now. And it's just one of those, I've talked to some of their opponents throughout the years, and they've said that it's like there are 7 Lopes on the floor the way they defend. So it feels like this is a very senior group, a very experienced group. They're obviously going to a tough environment in Waco to play Baylor in the first round. But for the first time for them to make the tournament, that's a really big deal for both of these programs.
So is Molly going to get out of there, or is ASU going to lock her up?
It sure feels that way. Right when ASU, moved on from Natasha Adair, there were a lot of rumors of who might be the next head coach. Molly was in that conversation. You also heard players like Bree January, one of the greatest Sun Devils ever. Nikki Blue, who actually Charlie Thorne recommended before Natasha got hired. And then all of a sudden these rumors have kind of gotten quiet. So it just feels like it might be, let's let this play out. Let's see how far the Lopes go. And then let's see if Molly wants to change her commute a little bit and just drive up the I-17 and head to Tempe instead of Phoenix. So I think that she would be a very high priority for them. I think she would fit in great at Arizona State and really could take some of her teaching, some of the style that they have, and apply that pretty quickly and try to get this going here in the first couple of years of the Big 12.
And we're chatting with Jordan Ham from the Sports 360 AZ and kind of following up on that, Jordan. It's never easy to replace a legend, the likes of a Charlie Turner Thorne. Does she still have a large influence on that program, even though she's no longer the head coach?
She's around the university. It's more in kind of like almost like a leadership. I know she does a lot of, kind of speaking engagements and that sort of thing. She's done some broadcasting as well.
Right.
Formerly with the Pac-12 network. She actually has called a couple Lopes games as well. So I think she's very familiar with Molly. And honestly, I see a lot of Charlie Turner Thorne when I watch Molly Miller coach, just with the way that they defend and the way it's really it's typically not a star or two. When those teams are good, it's 3 or 4 players that can really get it done. But yeah, Charlie is definitely around, and we've seen her. And I'm sure if Graham Rossini asked, she would give, all of the insight she possibly could. But I don't think by any means she's like overstepping or being, trying to do it unprompted or anything like that.
A lot of speculation was around Bobby Hurley and what his future was going to be as the men's basketball coach at Arizona State. Were you surprised at all how that played out and the decision to retain him?
A little bit. I think it's a lot more. I think the decision was a lot more what came down to maybe roster construction and roster health more than like the exact product we were seeing on the field. They have a chance. Jaden Quaintance has to come back because he's not 18 yet, so he can't enter the NBA draft. Joson Sannon, he said he was going to be a one and done. I think he's a lot more open to potentially coming back to college basketball. Now, if it's ASU, I'm not sure, but college basketball, I think he's a lot more open to. And then it sure sounds like ASU is still in on Koa Pete. So they could, even if, some of these other guys graduate or transfer out, that's still a pretty good core, and that's a credit to Bobby and what he's been able to do to keep those relationships going. And they're going to play a postseason tournament. I don't think you have to get some level of buy-in from these guys. While the transfer portal is open, to still be playing games with your old team. So I think for all the struggles that they had, they still played really, really hard, even when they had, what seemed like 6 players that they were able to kind of cycle through in the tail end of the Big 12 slate. So I think it was more that than necessarily you look at the record. But when you take a little bit of a deeper look, it's like, man, just things did not go Bobby Hurley's way in any way, shape, or form when it came to roster health. And just kind of some freak things kind of throughout the year. So I think it's interesting. He has one more year on his deal. We haven't really heard anything about an extension. So it might be a prove it year, or it might be, with the way college athletics work now with the finances, schools are less and less likely to maybe pay some big buyouts. So maybe it's, hey, let's try to ride this out and see. And if things go well, great, we'll have you come back. If they don't, then we'll move on, and now we don't have a massive buyout that we have to pay.
We're pleased to be joined by Jordan Ham. He covers all things here sports-wise in the state of Arizona for Sports 360 AZ. He's been down here a couple of times checking out the Wildcats. Jordan, what are just your overall thoughts on Arizona as they head into this NCAA tournament for a 4th time under Tommy Lloyd?
Yeah, with this men's basketball team, I don't think anybody's going to say this is the most talented group, but it sure feels like this is a group that has an edge to them. And, they've been battle tested in the Big 12, but, the way that they play defense and just the way that they really make life difficult for opponents, I think they're going to be able to hang into some games and make a little bit of a run. I know with, in Tommy's tenure so far, they've won a whole bunch of regular season games. When it was the Pac-12, they were pretty much chalked in to go ahead and win that tournament as well. And then you find struggles in the postseason. This just feels like a group that's been through enough. That backcourt is really, really experienced. And like I said, just kind of an edge where the moment doesn't seem to ever get too big for them necessarily. Now, would you like to see some better 3-point numbers? Certainly. But I think just their style of play, that will travel well, and they'll be able to be in some games. So I'm expecting them to make a little bit of a run here. Definitely a tough region that they're in, but the makeup of this team, I think, is just a little bit different from the ones that Tommy's had previously.
Jordan Ham joining us from Sports 360 AD. Jordan, we obviously have a ton of kids that have come up through the high school basketball realm here in the state of Arizona who are competing in the NCAA tournament. We've got a couple kids. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on Jordan Gainey from South Point Catholic, who plays over at Tennessee. Who are some other kids that you've covered that are going to be on the big dance stage this weekend that kind of stand out?
Yeah, that's a great question. Just in terms of, for some of these guys, it's even, recruiting now is the world is so much smaller, right? Like for a lot of these guys, like the first one that came to mind, and he's not even an Arizona guy, is Carter Bryant. Like I was able to see him a couple of times just with the way these teams travel,
right? And
the social media and the willingness for, recruits to talk to media, even if it's just out of state, and you shoot them a DM and say, hey, would love to talk to you. But, that's one. Duke Brennan's another one for Grand Canyon that, I covered a little bit in high school, and he's been really crucial both with Arizona State and now GCU. And he's just one of those that will just get on the ground and fight for rebounds and that sort of thing. So it's a really cool, just kind of environment that we kind of live in now, where you can really kind of see guys coming up really through the ranks and that sort of thing. So those are a couple that just come to mind. But honestly, yeah, with the way it's been balancing the recruiting side, but also focusing on the ASUs, the U of A's, the GCUs and stuff, I feel like I'm not as in touch as maybe previous years where it's like, every single person that was coming out of the state. I'm sure I'm missing a couple here, but yeah, it's definitely cool to see the progress each and every year that ASU is able to continue to have people in really big roles here when the lights are brightest.
Is Bryce Drew, is he a lot like his brother Scott in terms of the philosophy on the court?
I would say on the court, yes. It's really funny though, Bryce is so just kind of buttoned up. And he's always, it's almost like talking to Larry Fitzgerald, where everything that comes out of his mouth, he kind of the microprocessor in his brain went okay, we're going to calculate this really quick and make sure I'm not saying anything out of turn. He's always very cautious with what he says. He's always a great soundbite, and it's very well thought out. But yeah, he's always very reserved. So it's always kind of cool to be at a GCU game where he gets a little bit fired up. You can tell the crowd feeds off of it because it's one of those things where it doesn't happen all that often. So when it does, it's hey, take note of this. We got to follow the coach's lead here.
Did you do a bracket, Jordan? You want to tell us who's in your Final Four?
Yeah, my Final Four. I usually like to get a little weird and have some deeper seeds. This year, I went pretty chalk, honestly. So I have Houston winning it all. Just seeing them enough times here in the Big 12, where it's just it's. I kind of liken it to pool basketball, where it's you'll have the person that will, splash you when you're trying to shoot, and then you'll have the person that tries to drown you. That's Houston. They are just trying to suffocate each and every opponent. So I have Houston, I have Duke, Florida, and then I have Michigan State as the only non-one getting in there.
That's my Final Four.
Oh, nice. So we're either going to both be really happy or really disappointed.
Well, I have Florida winning, though. I have Florida and Houston, and I have Florida winning.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have Houston over Florida, so that's where we
we'll see.
We veer a little bit.
Great minds think alike there, Jordan. Exactly. I like that. His name is Jordan Ham. He is with Sports 360 AZ. Please be sure to follow all of the things that he does at Jordy Ham on the Twitter. Jordan, appreciate you as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thanks.
Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. David Amata is Dragon Ball. He's getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. We have an accident with injuries reported over at North Almanon Way and East Pima Street, slowing things down in all directions as you get to that intersection there. We also have some property damage reported over at West Valencia Road and South Camino del Oeste. This one's slowing things down on northbound Camino del Oeste going to the intersection there. We're currently at 80 degrees. We're going to continue to cool off, though, at this time, as we're eventually going to hit 60 by 9 o'clock. I'm Dragon Ball with you, Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Shop Lowe's SpringFest deals now. Get up to 40% off select major appliances, plus save an additional $100 on every $1,000 you spend on select major appliances. Valid through 4/2. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
I've been doing this show for decades and decades and decades.
With rapid-fire takes.
Learn how to stop it, learn how to run it, or at least make a good argument. I don't even like the play. I've never fought so hard to defend something I don't like.
Scorching debates.
You can beef about anything you want. Why are you pushing me?
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Just so you all know, this is no one-off. This is what we're going to get every single day.
Let's go, Jim!
Let's go!
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, man. It's me, your furnace, man. Hey, can I get a light here, man? I know we live in Arizona, so I understand I'm not, like as cool as your air conditioner. But I still need a tune-up at least once a year, man. So get the best in town, man. Goodfellas AC, bro. Hey, anybody smell that, man? I swear it wasn't me. Okay, it was me.
Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. GoodfellasAC.com.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
It's the $10,000 quiz show. Okay, contestants, these are things that save you money. Ready? Here we go. It's Tucson's only place to save up to 40% on all your favorite tobacco products.
Tobacco Barn.
You pay no city or state sales tax because they're on
the Indian Reservation.
And save up to another $3 off with a coupon at
TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
Excellent. Now for the big savings. At Tobacco Barn, you'll save up to
40% off.
And because they're on the reservation, you pay no
city or state sales tax.
And at TobaccoBarnTucson.com, you get
a coupon up to $3 off.
What you are if you waste your money shopping somewhere else.
Crazy?
Nuts.
Stupid?
A few tacos short of a combo plate?
Whoa! Tobacco Barn, Tucson's most watched savings show. Nogales Highway, just south of Valencia. Check your local listings or TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
This is Zach Gelb with the Sports Minute, sponsored by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. As we enter the NCAA tournament, we already know Rick Pitino is a top 5 college basketball coach of all time. We all know the unbelievable resumes of Coach K, John Wooden, and Dean Smith, just to name a few. But if Pitino wins a national championship this year at St. John's, it would give him 3 national titles at 3 different schools, and that to me would make him the most impressive coach we've ever seen in the history of college basketball. I'm Zach Gelb.
Ready to shoot your shot? Log into BetMGM and make your picks in our March Matchups $250K Pick'em for your chance to win a share of bonus bets. It's free to play and easy to get started. Just log into your BetMGM account and predict what will happen at different points throughout the college basketball tournament. You'll earn points with every correct answer, which gives you a shot to win a share of bonus bets. That's right. Just pick what will happen throughout March matchups, and if you make enough correct picks, you'll win a share of the $250K in bonus bets. You think you know college basketball? Log into BetMGM and make your picks to win a share of $250,000 in bonus bets. It's free to play. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. Arizona only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP.
Sports Network.
DK on the sports tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. The Women's NCAA Swimming Championships are getting underway. 5 Arizona Wildcats will be involved in that. So we'll keep an eye on those ladies as they get ready to try to win an NCAA title. Women's swimming event going on today, tomorrow, and Saturday up in Federal Way, Washington. So a lot of Wildcats up in the Seattle area this weekend, both basketball and swimming. Julia Wozniak will be up there. Riley Button, Eleni Jewalt, Lexi Duckscherer, and Alyssa Schwingel are all competing for the University of Arizona. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Arizona women's basketball at McHale Center tonight for the first round of the WBIT, Wildcats and Northern Arizona. These two teams played earlier in the year up in Flagstaff, I think that might be the first time in a while that the Wildcats have played on the road at GCU. It did not go well. It was a game that the Wildcats played. I believe they played without Jada Williams that night in that game, and they lost 92-75 to the Lumberjacks.
You are correct. You have a good memory. Jada did not play in that game.
No, she did not. Paulina Paris scored 20. And there was a stretch of games there kind of during that time frame where the Wildcats had some injuries. Jada missed some time. Brea missed a game due to family concerns. And I believe there was a couple of other injuries that forced players out of the lineup. So a very tough loss there on the road. Another opportunity, though, to get back at those Lumberjacks. Not everybody is completely healthy going into tonight. Montana Dua is not expected to play. Jada's dealing with some injuries, as well as Skylar Jones. But Skylar Jones said this week, hurt or not, I am going to play.
My foot's been hurting really bad, so I was like, I don't know. But we made it, and I'm gonna play in it, so I'm gonna thug it out because I'm not a loser, I'm not a quitter. So I didn't really have any second thoughts about it, but because I knew we were going regardless if we made it or not. So in turn, I knew we were gonna play the WIT, so I'm just gonna thug it out.
And I think that's important because it shows what kind of teammate you are. It shows how much pride you have in Arizona, because a lot of people wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And so I think that what players don't understand is there are decisions that you make that you live with for the rest of your career. And I think that when you're somewhere, there has to be pride of playing somewhere, and you have to finish what you started. Regardless of your transferring or staying, it doesn't matter. I think that there's a sense of pride, and you play for your teammates and you play for yourself, and I think everybody pays attention to that, so it only helps you. And I think that at this point, for her playing another week, she's still going to rest her foot after. It doesn't matter. She's playing for her teammates and for Arizona, and I think that you have to respect that. On the men's side, this would not be possible. On the men's side, no one would do it. Everybody would be 1 foot out the door, so I think those are things I respect and love about female athletes and where we're at. But it's not like that in every program.
You mentioned Jada a little bit, that she may or may not be playing, and then what about Montea too?
Yeah, so it depends on Jada, the state of her. She's been, same with Sky. She's been having a nagging injury. She's been out of most of the practices for most of the year, only just playing in certain segments. So she'll decide if if her foot's well enough to play. But it's pretty much been like this the last 2 or 3, or maybe like 5 months.
For who, Jada?
Yeah, probably like the whole season she's been in and out. So she has to decide if she's willing to play in the WBIT. Yeah, and Montea's not going to play. So Montea's out. Montea had surgery on the 14th. Oh, it's Friday.
3 days ago.
Yeah, what day? What day is Monday?
Today's
Okay, sorry. I don't know what day it is. The 14th she had surgery, and it went well, but she's going to be out a while. She has, a meniscus repair and some other things, so like she wasn't going to be able to play. I was optimistic, but she had MRI and it was not conclusive, so they had to go in and scope it out to see what the situation was. So unfortunately, she'll be out for a while, which is too bad. I'm really sad about that.
Skylar used the term "thug it out." Define that for me as it relates to your basketball life and things that maybe set the tone for that mentality that you have.
And all year, I've been wearing a boot probably since November, like outside of practice. But I'm not the player that doesn't like to practice. Like I literally beg Adia to let me practice. Like she be having to force me to sit out of some stuff because I be in pain. But I say thug it out because like I can play through the pain. It's not like something that's gonna just hold me out. Like I don't want to play. So I've just been playing on it all year, and it hurts. But like it's not to the point where I want to play for my teammates. So
is there an instance in the past where you've had to do that kind of maybe put you in that mind phase that look, if even when I'm hurting, I need to be there?
No, I've never been injured in my life. Like this is so new for me. Like I've never been like actually like hurt before. So this is something different for me. But I think I've handled it pretty well majority of the season.
Well, she has, and I think that it's not going to worsen her injury. So yeah. I think as a player, you have to decide a couple things. Like, do you play for your teammates? Do you play for your school? Because, like, it's not. She's going to rest anyways at the end of the season. She has to rest to rest her foot. Doesn't need surgery, and it could possibly, but we're at the end of the season. We're at go time. It's a chance to win something, and it's not going to risk further damage. So I respect the fact.
All right, so that was the head coach of your Arizona women's basketball team, Jada Williams, along with Skylar Jones, sophomore guard. So Skylar, not 100%, but as you heard her say there, she's going to thug it out. I like that mentality. Thug it out. You got to go out there. Sports, you're not always going to be 100%, but you got to go out there for your teammates and get the job done. And she'll be on the floor tonight at 6 o'clock. When the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks come to town. If Jada can go, I'm sure she will. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out this evening. First round tonight, second round scheduled for Sunday if the Arizona Wildcats can get the victory tonight.
That's so rare.
Yeah.
She's a sophomore, right? So 1920?
Yeah, I would imagine.
And she said she's never been injured before.
Never been, yeah.
Yeah,
injured.
that's so rare.
Exactly. And again, that's when you experience that for the first time. That in itself is, if you've never had to go through that, just the mental side of having to deal with the injuries.
I played my whole junior year for Coach Peabody. When I was a senior, Coach Peabody had left, and he went to go coach what was then St. Gregory's. Now is the Gregory School. My senior year, DK, about a month into practice, I tore my knee up, and I didn't play the rest of the year. And sitting on the sideline and watching all my friends play basketball for a team that had been to 3 consecutive state championships, 3 consecutive, and won 2 of them. There's a skill, something to be said about the skill, DK, of really having that desire to get in there and help your friends get over that hump. Do whatever you can to help the team goal of winning games or winning titles. There's a skill sitting over there and not being able to do those things and still having the positivity to root them on. So definitely, I know Skylar is a very positive, happy-go-lucky person, and everything I've heard from her seems like she's that way in general. But yeah, it's tough when you get your first injury and you can't actually get in there and help your teammates at the age of 20. It's got to be a completely new experience outside of somebody who, twists an ankle or whatever as a sophomore in high school and has to miss a few games.
Yeah. We've got a few more finals on the college basketball side since the early games we were talking about. We'll update you on all of those. Actually, there's a bunch of games in progress. We have 3 games in progress right now. Tennessee, number 2 seed in the Midwest, is leading Wofford 36-27. We mentioned in our interview with Jordan Ham, we're keeping an eye on Jordan Gainey out of South Point Catholic High School. He has 4 points so far in the early phases of that game. He comes off the bench for the Vols. Talking about Big 12, number 7, Kansas, number 10, Arkansas. This is an interesting game. I'm sure Debbie's probably watching it right now, yes?
Oh, I would assume, yeah. I think Arkansas is one of those states that gets really behind their school when they're doing well, for sure. I think the funny thing to me is this, Kansas and Kentucky are the real rivals if you want to go back 100 years. And having the guy who just, 15 years was Coach Cal over there in Lexington? I mean, he was there for a long time. So that connection between Coach Cal and Kansas is really the big takeaway for me for that game, but really evenly matched. I mean, Kansas obviously preseason number 1, Arkansas playing in a really tough conference, but didn't really play great down the stretch. I'm not super surprised to see them even because that's a really kind of a pick'em situation. Kansas on paper, DK, should be a 2-line, if not a 1-line team. Who knows? Maybe they could put it together. Maybe those guys. I mean, Hunter Dickinson is still Hunter Dickinson, so maybe they can figure out a way to get it all going and string some games together. But so far, they are right even with Debbie Gatewood's Arkansas Razorbacks.
All right, I don't know why, but for years, I have just refused not to pick against John Calipari, even though I've lost a lot doing that.
Yeah.
But there's something about it, tournament time, that just that I always seem to go with wherever John's coaching, whether it's Kentucky or Memphis or whatnot. So I took Arkansas in that game. You have Kansas in that particular game. So we'll see how that plays out. 40-40 is the score nearing the end of the first half. Elsewhere, Texas A&M and Yale. This is an interesting game. Texas A&M is up 29-21 in that game. Our folks over at BetMGM said take Yale in the 7.5 in this game. So it's right out at that point right now with Texas A&M up 8. They also told us, we didn't go through all of these, they also told us later to take Michigan on the money line over San Diego because there's a lot of people that are high on San Diego. There's a lot of folks that believe San Diego's got the ability to upset the Michigan Wolverines.
The big problem for me, DK, with a lot of teams like that, San Diego, again, has not lost, very similar to BYU. The UC San Diego has not lost a game since January.
Yeah.
January 18th, to be precise, they lost to UC Riverside. However, if you look at their schedule, DK, you don't recognize a lot of these names, right? I mean, it's a lot of UC schools.
Point Loma.
Seattle U. Yeah, I mean, and it is not any disrespect to any of these schools that they played. It's just, it's so hard for me to gauge a team that's on a 15-game winning streak if none of those 15 games that they won are against NCAA tournament teams or even highly seeded NCAA tournament teams. We saw that in the Pac-10 before it even became the Pac-12. There would be long stretches where you might not see an NCAA tournament team. So, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are high on them because they're killing people. They're beating teams by 10+ every single time out, and they've only lost, 3 games all year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to argue against a team that's only lost 3 games, and the other side of that coin is, 4 games all year. The other side of that coin is none of these teams that they played are Houston, right?
Yes, exactly. So I was talking about my funky pool that I used to do yesterday. So in my pool, the upsets started with the 11 seeds. So 9s beating 8s were not upsets, and 10s beating 7s were not upsets. But anything above 11 and above in the first round was considered an upset. So according to my system, right now we have just one upset on the board, and that is McNeese State beating Clemson today, 69-67.
They beat the heck out of them for about 30 minutes, and then Clemson decided they wanted to play.
Yeah.
And ended up winning by 2.
Brandon Murray, 21 points and 3 steals. Are they, let me guess, Cowboys? Is that who they are?
That is correct.
Oh, all right. McNeese Cowboy. Now, on ESPN, they dropped the state, so I don't know, maybe we'll have to look that up. And
I already did look it up. I typed McNeese in, and it says, did you mean McNeese State? Yeah, that's what Google tells us.
All right, well, there we go.
I don't see anything about a name change, so I think both can be correct.
There you go. All right, DK on the sports tip. Much more coming up for you. The 5 o'clock hour will continue to get you set for Arizona women's basketball tonight over at McHale Center. 6 o'clock, we'll be heading down there as soon as the show is over to check out the game between the Wildcats and the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks, first round of the WBIT. If you want to listen to our coverage of that, it'll be over on Freedom 1400, as it always is. Derek Palmer will have the call coming up for you at 5:45. Lori Burkhart going to join us from McHale Center coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. DK on the Sports Tip. Dragon Ball is here. J-Dub is here. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Reminder that the 6th Avenue underpass is going to get set to open back up here between Toole Avenue and 7th Street after the underpass painting project still ongoing. That's going to end at 5. If you're getting there before then, you can use either 4th Avenue or Stone Avenue to get around that closure instead. And for your weather right now, we're getting ready to hit 79 degrees. We're going to continue to cool down once we get to the 70s here at 6 p.m. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. If you have a spicy side, Taco Bell now has a menu to match. Taco Bell's new caliente sauce made with red jalapenos is the spicy side of Cantina chicken. Try it today, only at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only, while supplies last. Contact store for availability.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Nobody covers your Cats like we do, with press conferences, coaches shows, and play-by-play. Bounce pass, a walk, a slam it home. We bring you all the stories, highlights, and analysis of your Arizona Wildcats. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos. However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
We are your home for all things Arizona basketball. 3 hours of pregame.
They're not going to finish the season 19-1, guys.
2 hours of postgame.
I guarantee you, Coach told the guys don't come over and help on him.
And all the action in between. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Wildcat fans, Taco Bell is a proud partner of Arizona Athletics and is ready to serve you. We're open for breakfast. Fire up your mornings with breakfast at Taco Bell. You've heard about happy hour? Well, try Happier Hour at your local Taco Bell for $1 beverages. From 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., choose any regular freezes or medium drink for $1. It's the happiest time of the day. Taco Bell is locally owned and operated and is looking forward to serving Wildcat fans. Stay safe, bear down, and live Mas.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We talk Diamondbacks baseball daily.
Overall, inside of our culture, it's built on love, trust, commitment, and effort. And I think love is the glue to all of it.
Love, trust, commitment, and effort. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program. I want to hear about your bracket. Let us know who you have going to the Final Four. Who are your Final Four teams for this NCAA men's basketball tournament? And if you filled out a women's bracket, let us know that too. I think I'm not sure if ESPN offers that, but if they do, I'm going to fill out a women's bracket as well, because I think they start tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. The first games in the women's draw are tomorrow. Your number one seeds on the women's side, you've got UCLA in the Spokane Regional, Spokane 1 as they call it. You've got USC in the Spokane 4 Regional. And then there's 2 regionals in Birmingham. They don't split 4 different places. I believe they do everything in 2 places on the women's side. South Carolina in Birmingham 1, Texas in Birmingham 2. The first 4 games for the women's tournament are happening tonight. One of those games is already complete. In the 16 versus 16 battle, Southern University is on and into the dance as they knock off UC San Diego 68-58. The 11 seed game is currently at the half, and it's our old sisters from the Pac-12, the Washington Huskies, are back in the tournament, and they lead Columbia 34-21. Those are the first 2 of the first 4 games. The others will be, are those all tonight? Or those, I'm sorry. The Southern game was last night. The other game that was last night was the 11 seed game between Princeton and Iowa State. So Iowa State beat Princeton 68-63. So the first game tonight is Washington and Columbia. And then the final game this evening will be High Point and William Mary. So shout out to the High Point men and women getting both of their teams into the NCAA tournament. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. If you missed earlier, Tommy Lloyd was on with Jim Rome. We'll have that for you coming up a little bit later in the show. In fact, we'll end our show with that. That'll be our Desert Diamond Casino replay coming up if you missed Tommy's conversation with Jim Rome.
He said his kids' music sucks.
That's what Tommy said?
Yeah, well, he had a whole Rome asked him about the Beastie Boys and how much they meant to him growing up, and Tommy said that he'd like to meet all the members, living members, eventually, and then he asked about how his kids felt about it, and basically Coach Lloyd said to Jim, he tells his kids their music sucks.
Oh.
That was his dad sign-off for that interview, yes.
There you go. I didn't get the question that I wanted to ask Tommy that I didn't get a chance to is he grew up in Kelso, Washington, which is kind of South Washington. It's between Portland and Seattle. And so I wanted to ask him, was he a Blazers fan growing up or whether he was a Sonics fan growing up? I don't know that I've ever heard what his NBA allegiances were growing up in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm interested to hear that. Hopefully, maybe we'll be able to get that in if the Wildcats advance, and we'll be able to get that into the press conference.
I'm trying to remember
Saturday.
like, the era he would have been growing up was same as me. Like we're basically the same age, and I know that the Sonics were really good in the late '80s, and the Blazers were really good right in the Walton era, right?
Right.
So I think he would have been too young to appreciate the Walton era, but he would have been right in the wheelhouse for the whole Gary Payton-led Supersonics era.
Greg in Tucson checks in, and he says, check out the score for the Pima men's basketball game. Pima men were playing today. Do we have a final on that? Let's see if we have a final on the Pima men in the quarterfinals. Yeah, they tipped off 2 hours ago. I'm not seeing a final yet from the folks over at Pima, but we will keep you up to date on that. They were supposed to tip off their game at 3 o'clock our time, so they probably are just finishing that game up. And as soon as we get a final on that, we will get that to you for sure. It is I believe the semifinals. I'm sorry, the quarterfinals today. No, it is. I'm sorry, the national semifinal. The women are in the semifinals tonight.
Yeah, they beat SUNY Niagara 2 days ago.
Yeah, the women are in the semifinals tonight. The men's game, I believe, was a quarterfinal today. So there you have it. Both the Pima men and women still alive for chances to win the national tournaments, respectively, in men's and women's Division II. Awesome, awesome stuff going up on there as well. 520-848-1290. You know something we've been kind of talking about, J-Dub, but we haven't gotten to, is a pretty big milestone is about to happen in the game of hockey. As Alex Ovechkin is inching closer to becoming the all-time leading scorer in NHL history as he creeps up the leaderboard on the great Wayne Gretzky. That's probably one of those records that well, again, you know, I guess you anticipate every record to be broken eventually, but that is one that obviously has really, really stood the test of time.
Yeah, he just had a goal like half an hour ago.
Oh, he scored tonight already?
That's right. So he's 888th career goal, and he is now 7 shy of breaking the record, 6 shy of tying.
That is awesome. He's 39 years old, Alex Ovechkin. Man, these guys get old quick.
You would have to be. I mean, come on. Like that.
Yeah.
The great. Okay, first and foremost, the goals plus assists, so the points, is never going to be touched, right? I mean, Wayne Gretzky's points and assists combined is a number that nobody will ever come close to that. But as far as the goal scoring, you'd have to get into your late 30s, early 40s in order to put up that kind of number.
He's got 7 goals remaining with 7 goals to go with 14 games remaining. So the clock is ticking for sure on Alex Ovechkin if he wants to do that this season. He's currently got 1,607 points in his professional career. He recently became the 11th player in NHL history to reach 1,600 points in a career. So good stuff happening there with Alex Ovechkin.
Did you hear the other record-breaking news today?
I did not, no.
So a group led by Bill Chisholm has agreed to purchase the Boston Celtics.
Oh, yes, I
for
did hear that.
$6.1 billion. And if this deal is signed and goes through, DK, that will be the most expensive franchise purchase in sports history.
Wow.
The previous record was the Commanders, went for $6.05 billion. That was what, 3 years ago, 2 years ago? Yeah. So that's happening today. The Celtics, and that's been rumored, I think, since last playoff run. They talked about how the ownership was open to sale, and that went down today. It's obviously not final, but there's an agreement in place.
Do you know how many Americans, we mentioned Alex Ovechkin in terms of the all-time points scored. You know how many Americans are in the top 10?
Top 10 points?
Yes, all-time.
Man, can't be that many. I would say 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Less than 2 or 3. How about 0?
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
No. 0 Americans are on that. I'm trying to think. The all-time leading American scorer, Brett Hull, and this is in terms of total points.
Right.
1,391. And he is currently right around 25th place.
Yeah, but how many Canadian-born running backs are in the top 10 NFL rushers of all time?
Yeah, the same amount.
Right.
0.
Yeah, that's their national pastime. I mean, kids grow up skating on frozen lakes, right? And it's just such a pastime in Canada that it doesn't surprise me. I think maybe into the future, DK, you could see that change with some kids growing up in the States who just fall in love with hockey at a very young age. The issue being, as you well know, when you're, like we heard Coach Lloyd say today, he played every single sport growing up.
Right.
And that's the way it goes in America, is that you don't generally specialize until you maybe get into your sophomore, junior year of high school. It's not like you're specializing as a 7-year-old, but in Canada, and I think somebody else here could probably chime in and give a better, because he's the real hockey expert among us, but growing up in Canada, you fall in love and you determine that you're going to be a hockey player when you're 7 or 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
And that's, a little leaguer wanting to be a center fielder in the States.
Yeah.
We Dragon Ball rejoins us. We were talking about Alex Ovechkin scored again today, and so he is inching closer. He's got 7 goals remaining with 14 games to go this season to get to Wayne Gretzky.
I don't know if Ovi's going to get to that spot just because he when he's on a hot streak, he can get on a hot streak. I mean, I've seen Ovechkin and all the wars that he's had with the Penguins. If he gets on a hot streak, he can get like 2 goals on that quick one-timer right out of Ovi's corner at the top of the key, but at top of the face-off circle. But I think for him, it's going to be rough just because, again, he doesn't have as many great supporting casts as he's had in years past. I think that he's probably going to get there, but he'll probably have to wait till next season to get it. I think he's got enough in him for one more run.
How many games left?
It's about 14.
Well, he has scored 7 goals in the last 14 games.
So
hey.
he may tie. Is it to tie it or is it to take the overall record?
I think he's 7 shy of the record.
The record, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the record.
So 6 to tie, and then 7
tie,
would
right.
take it over. Well, if he can do it, I'd be impressed. It's going to come down to the wire, though, I feel like, especially because there's a lot of teams really pushing for playoff spots. You're going to see a lot of teams start to fly up and down the ice right now because...
a little more difficult for a 39-year-old to fly up and down the ice.
Exactly. Exactly.
So there's only one non-Canadian in the top 10. We'll see what since Dragon Ball... In all-time points, who's the one non-Canadian in the top 10?
I want to say that might be Brett Hull.
No. Well, Brett Hull's the top American, but he's not even in the top 10.
Wow.
Yeah, the only top American, Jaromir Jagr from the Czech Republic.
Yep.
Okay.
He's number
non-Canadian born player in the top 10
non-Canadian,
points.
Yeah. He's number 2 all-time behind Wayne Gretzky. So even, Ovechkin will never catch Gretzky in terms of points. I don't know that anybody will
be able
ever
to
catch
take a guess
that.
how
Might
many-
be the record that never gets broken is all-time points.
You want to take a guess how many assists behind Wayne Gretzky Alexander Ovechkin is?
Over 1,200.
It's 1,100 and a bit.
Yeah.
Actually, just under that.
A lot.
So 1,990, basically, something like that.
He's primarily a goal scorer. I mean, most of the guys on this list have over 1,000 assists. He and Phil Esposito are the 2 guys that don't.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about, the lead up to potentially breaking the goal record for Wayne Gretzky, but the points total, I mean, Wayne Gretzky is 1,100 points ahead of the second place points. And he has 700 plus more assists than the second all-time assister in NHL history. It's just outrageous.
Wayne Gretzky, Jaromir Jagr, Mark Messier, Gordie Howe, Ron Francis, Marcel Dion, Steve Yzerman, Mario Lemieux, or Mario. Mario or Mario?
I go Mario.
Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby, who is still active.
Yep.
is
Just
on
broke the
this
4th
list.
all-time most for a point score with a single franchise. So again, to put in perspective, the most point score for a single franchise, and Sid's still only 4th on the list. Him and Gretzky and Messier are going to own those titles for a very long time.
Oh, yeah, they are.
How old was he when he came to L.A.? He was in, like, early 30s?
Gretzky? Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when that happened. I was in college.
I think
man.
everybody remember when that happened.
Oh, yeah.
The King's ransom, as they say.
The King's ransom. There you go. All right. Dragon Ball is here without a bracket. We still don't know who his Final Four is.
I'll go and I'll figure that out
Venture
for
to
you.
tell us that before we get to the final 16 games of the first day?
I'll probably try to let you know here.
Okay. All right. He's getting you home every 20 minutes on the traffic.
Well, from the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Just a quick reminder about the repaving work along Park Avenue between Fort Lowell and the north of Speedway. Traffic's going to be reduced to one lane here, and a pilot car will direct traffic through the work zone. Paving should take about 1 week. This started on Monday, so that'll be followed up by manhole and valve cover work and striping operations. Total completion done by mid-April. You can use either Mountain Avenue or Euclid and First Avenue to get around this instead. For your weather, we're officially at 78 degrees right now, continuing to cool off. We'll get to 74, though, by 6 p.m. I'm Dragon Ball with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Arizona Lottery.
When you play the Arizona Lottery, there's always a chance you'll win big. But there's also a guarantee that you'll be giving back to the community. There's joy in it all. Love the play with scratchers, draw games, and more from the Arizona Lottery.
The jungle has moved afternoon, so grab your best Tucson tuxedo and join us on the Jim Rome Show weekdays from noon till 3 p.m. right here on the flagship home of your Arizona Wildcats, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Sure do love this time of year.
Me too. People smiling at each other, sun is shining.
Everybody singing those holiday songs.
Holiday songs?
We're talking about Alaska vacation season, right?
Yeah, but
there aren't any Alaska vacation songs. Oh, wait.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Like angels from the heavens.
Not even close to that.
But when Alaskan AC performs our exclusive Alaska vacation, it's primed and prepped for the coming summer heat.
And every Alaska vacation comes with our guarantee of no breakdowns all summer long.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Still no angels.
But people love singing it. Come on. If you want your AC to last...
No.
Do we have to sing?
Yes. All summer long with an Alaska vacation.
No.
Okay, but don't come crying to me if you Scrooges don't get anything from the Alaska Vacation Bunny.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
For 100 years, O'Reilly Chevrolet has been part of the fabric of Tucson, just as our Chevy trucks are part of the fabric of America. With that in mind, we're proud to announce it's officially truck season. And this year we have Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the all-new Chevy Colorado. Test drive your new Chevy truck on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or check out our entire lineup at O'Reilly.com. Don't miss truck season, going on now at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Marco!
Polo!
Marco!
Polo!
In a giant pool of business competitors, don't be the one left unseen and out of reach. If you're a business owner and need help with your online presence, let's make it happen. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Boost your website, boost your findability, boost your reputation, boost your business.
Marco?
Yes, I'm Marco.
Get a boost, get found, get on the map. Contact us today at cumulusboost.com.
One day while motoring around free and easy and listening to his favorite radio station, Bob heard all about it. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, advertising affordable tires and no hidden extras. Jack Furrier's one low price included valve stems and the other critical tire thingies that cost additional elsewhere, but not at Jack Furrier's. This was music to Bob's ears, as he knows to never underestimate the importance of thingies. Such a shame that not every tire dealer advertises total tire prices, he thought. But with this knowledge, I can do better. As synchronicity and predictable cliches would have it, yes, you guessed it. At that moment, Bob spotted one of Jack Furrier's 14 convenient locations. With no hesitation and great acceleration, Bob claimed his new set of quite affordable steel-belted radials, installed for one low price at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Thingies included.
Do better like Bob at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, the locals' choice for affordable tires and quality auto repair. Jack Furrier's, since 1960, here to get you there.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
we bring you all the news and stories of your Arizona Wildcats. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Wildcats Radio 1290 for the latest highlights and commentary. Your home for U of A athletics, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports. The new NWSL year is underway. The Professional Soccer League is now in their 12th full season of competition. The league is made up of 14 teams, but they will add 2 more in 2026. Now, the defending NWSL champions are the Orlando Pride, who won their first league title back in November. Orlando started off the new season with a 6-0 victory over the Chicago Stars last weekend. The Pride were led by striker Barbara Banda, who found the back of the net twice. Forward Ali Watt was one of 4 other goal scorers for Orlando in the emphatic win.
I think we made a big statement this game, and just letting you guys know that we are the defending champions and we are here to compete this year. And continuously people will be against us, and that's fine. It just fuels our fire, but we're here to stay. We're defending champions, and we are going to defend our title.
The Orlando Pride are back in action on Sunday against Gotham FC. With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Jody Jackson on Westwood One.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with a Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
DK on the sports tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we have some breaking news to update for you. It is now gone final in Danville, Illinois. The Pima College men's basketball team has knocked off their quarterfinal opponent 86-82. The Aztecs beat Davidson College and advance to the national semifinals, just like their women who will play in that national semifinals tonight. Davidson Davie College. I have no idea what that is. I'll look that up. I've not heard of Davidson Davie. 86-82 doesn't get easy when you get to this level, but Coenje Gonzalez, 22 points. Wes Ball grabbed 13 rebounds, and the fellas are on to the semifinals. Tonight here in Tucson, basketball. It is the WBIT, the Arizona Wildcats, the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. Let's talk a little bit about that, as well as the Arizona men's team with a lady that knows a lot about sports here in Southern Arizona, making her first appearance on the Sports Tip. Lori Burkhart from All Sports Tucson. Lori, how are you?
Great, DK. It's good to be with you.
Outstanding. You are at McHale Center as we speak, I do believe. So who's suited up?
I am.
Who's suited up and who's not? Have they come out for warm-ups yet?
Yeah, I haven't. I can't answer that question at this moment since I'm sitting in my car in the parking lot.
Ah, okay. So you haven't gone in just yet. Well, we know that Skylar's going to play because she said she was going to play on Monday. We're not exactly sure if Jada Williams is going to be available. And last time these two teams got together, they didn't have Jada, and it did not turn out so well. Obviously, this is an interesting situation for Arizona women's basketball. I mean, like 6 years ago now, when they won this event and really kind of sparked the beginning of this current iteration of the program. It was a huge phenomenon here. The crowds were awesome for all of those games back in 2019. And granted, it's not necessarily where you want to be right now if you're this program. But I still think this is a huge opportunity because Adia Barnes has such a young team for them to get into some type of postseason, have some type of success and maybe try to recreate what happened with that team in 19 and sparked all of those NCAA tournament runs.
Agreed. This team is very young. They only have 2 seniors on their roster right now. It's mostly freshmen and sophomores. So being able to have this postseason, even though it's not exactly what they wanted, of course the dream is always the NCAA, but being able to play in any post game is always great for the team itself, continuing that culture, that bonding. And hopefully all of them will be coming back next year. So this will really add to build onto that team and that experience.
And you say hopefully because in this era of college athletics, you never know what's going to happen from year to year.
Yep.
What's your impression of this group and just kind of this season that they've had? We've seen some pretty incredible performances. The growth of Isis Bay, who was pretty much a reserve player her entire career, and she's kind of become the leader of this young group. I think they call her the auntie, as they so jokingly refer to her as. And we've seen Lauren Swan at times. A lot of these players have battled through the injuries, whether it was Skylar Jada or Lauren with her shoulder, and she's put up some high-scoring performances. I mean, there is talent there, no question, for the Wildcats.
There's a lot of talent on this team. What I've noticed through the season is the growth of each of the players. If you look at Brea Cunningham, she was very prone to fouling and fouling out of games. She's really started taking care of that as the season has gone on. Speaking of that, that's one of the reasons that Arizona was in the spot that they were in at NAU. Brea ended up on the bench for the most of the game, bad in not having, of course, Jada there. But watching the growth of Lauren Swan, of Jada, of Brea, and you said something about Isis. That girl's a warrior. She has flipped a switch somewhere, and I don't know where it is, but she needs to keep flipping it because she has just come on gangbusters this year. Also, Skylar, who had some troubles at the beginning of the season, and she was a starter. She ended up getting benched by Adea, and then she came back in as like the sixth man, and just went crazy. Really embraced that role and put up some big numbers and played some great games. And so she has earned her spot back in the starting lineup and is playing great. So really, talent is not the problem with this team. It's youth. It's learning when you get in those really hard situations in games, those tight times, not to turn that ball over, not to make that extra step, not to get that reach-in foul that just doesn't make any sense at that time. They're learning that. It's going to get there. Next year, I really do foresee really good things for this team. And as you said, you just never know with the world of NIL and transfer portal and of course, Coach Barnes hasn't had an extension yet.
Right, yeah.
So everything's really up in the air right now. But if everything comes together, everything gets cohesive, I'd say watch out for the Wildcats next year.
All right, so what is your crystal ball? What does your crystal ball say about what the future of Adea Barnes here is at the University of Arizona? I cannot believe that Desiree Reed-Francois would not find a way to keep her. I mean, what she's done in putting people in the seats there. I said a couple weeks ago, I said, 5-6 years ago, or maybe even longer than that, if you were getting to this stage and you were going to say where revenue sharing was coming into play and what was going to be your top women's program, you still would have said softballs. You're going to put as much money into softball as you can. And not that I don't think that the Wildcats are going to do that, but I think clearly Arizona women's basketball has surpassed softball in that respect, and they have become the top program. Putting 7,000 folks in there is not a small feat. There are not a lot of women's programs across the country that are doing that, and I think that they deserve that mantle and to be the team that this university invests in. How do you see it?
I 100% agree with that. My crystal ball, if I were making that decision, I would keep Coach Barnes, because you're right. I remember sitting on the court covering Arizona women's basketball when Nia Betts was the coach, and there were maybe 200 people at the game. It was a depressing atmosphere. Nobody wanted to be there. I mean, I'm sure the team was playing in an empty, McHale Center. So what Adia has done for this program cannot be said enough. She brought excitement back. She brought the fans back. I'm sure that the revenue has increased. It's crazy to think that she wouldn't be the coach of the Wildcats coming into next year. Or not getting her
extension,
her contract extended. I just cannot see it. And so my crystal ball is that they are going to extend her. She's got a great team put together. Why would you want to upset the apple cart? Why would you want to break that up when the future looks so bright?
We are joined by Lori Burkhart. She is with All Sports Tucson. Lori, give us a little bit of your background. I know, the first time I started seeing you, you are a super fan for CDO. I know that. I was like, oh, there's Lori. She's the CDO super fan, and then she dabbles in some media too. How did you kind of get involved with working in media, and what do you enjoy most about covering these programs?
So I started covering high school sports, mostly high school football. My daughter went to Ironwood Ridge and was a cheerleader. So It was really fun for me to be able to be down on the field with her, covering games while she was on the field cheering. So it was kind of a family thing at first. And then I just really got into being able to write, being able to cover, being able to talk to the youth here in Tucson, really learning from their perspective what sports is like for them. I love to highlight the players, the student athletes in the high schools here in Tucson, because really it's the grassroots of it, right? That's where it all begins for a lot of these young kids. Of course, there's the little leagues and the other programs when they're small, but I think that's when they start to see the stars in their eyes, and maybe there's something after this, and so you really see that fight and that work ethic come out in them. So I really enjoyed that. And then it just kind of morphed into covering some of the University of Arizona sports. I first started covering baseball first, and then I was able to cover women's basketball after that.
That's awesome. And you also have a lot of thoughts on the men's sports as well. So I'll ask you about this Arizona-Akron game coming up tomorrow. If Arizona wins, why do you think they'll win?
I think one of the things that I've always said about this team is the talent is there. They have the ability when they are on to beat just about anybody in the country, but they are consistently inconsistent. There's these lapses that happen, right? And so to be able to beat Akron, because they're not. I think I posted this on Twitter at one point. They aren't a cupcake. It's not going to be easy. They're a good team. So for me, Arizona needs to find that consistency and keep it. As long as their defense is on and they start covering that three, and they can get inside, we're golden. It's just jacking up all those threes sometimes that just don't make a lot of sense. Being lax on that perimeter defense, it kind of makes me crazy, and I think it probably makes a lot of people crazy. But if they can fix that, and we've seen that in the last couple games, right? We've seen where they show signs of being able to fix that. I do see this team going at least into the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
I really do.
I absolutely agree with that. I think this is definitely a Sweet 16 team. I don't know if they're going to beat Duke, but we'll cross that bridge when we are. But I didn't think they were going to beat Duke in 2011, and they blew them out. So you never know in this thing we call March Madness. Lori, appreciate the opportunity to chat with you. We'll definitely do it again, and we'll look forward to reading your work on the coverage of tonight's game between Arizona and Northern Arizona in the WBIT.
Great. Thanks, DK. We'll talk later.
Lori Burkhart with All Sports Tucson. Arizona and NAU. Our coverage begins in about 9 minutes over on Freedom 1400 with Derek Palmer. He'll be on the call tonight, hopefully Sunday afternoon, and then I think next Wednesday or Thursday, next Thursday, would be the next round, and the Wildcats will have the opportunity to play at least 3 home games here, I do believe, before they get to Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Dragon Ball. He might give you the traffic all the way to Hinkle if you need that, but that's for next week. Right now, it's just Tucson every 20 minutes on the 5s.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW of Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. A couple accidents with injuries. We have one at North Stone and East Grant Road, both sides grinding to a stop to the intersection there. We also have one at East Gulf Links Road and South Craycroft. Again, a lot of slowing as you approach the cross streets at that crash as well. For your weather, we're currently at about 76 degrees, and we continue to cool off, going to the 60s here by 9 o'clock. I'm Dragon Ball with you, Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
Discover luxury at BMW of Tucson, your premier BMW dealership. Explore our extensive inventory, lease specials, and state-of-the-art service. Visit us at the Tucson Auto Mall or at bmwoftucson.com today.
This report is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Don't let data limits hold you back from being the gift master in the family group chat. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get real unlimited data on a reliable 5G network. Straight Talk, available at Walmart or straighttalk.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Spring is here and the weather can be unpredictable. Now's the time to start preparing for the long, hot summer. If your air conditioner is tired and worn out, call Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing to provide you with the right options for your home. We are offering 4 years same-as-cash financing on high-efficient Rheem air conditioning systems. Call us today at 520-492-0748 or picturoxcooling.com.
Picturox Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Quick, she's over here. I don't know. I just found her like this.
Yeah, she's banged up, but she'll be fine.
Oh, thank God. What can I do?
Just need the keys. And, sir?
Yeah?
Your car's gonna be fine.
Thank you.
Mobile detailing from Recon Auto Detailing. Tired of wear and tear on your vehicle or just tired of cleaning it yourself? We'll come to you. Book with us online and see why we have over 1,100 5-star reviews. Recon Auto Detailing. ReconDetail.com.
It's DK on the sports tip. Did you hear what we were talking about?
Dragon Ball, if you were going to be given an NIL for NAU, what sport would that have been?
Probably would have had to try it out for at least the Quidditch team.
Quidditch?
No, I bet.
Wow.
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
even know what that is. What is Quidditch?
Quidditch is
It's a wizard sport.
It's a wizard
card game.
It's kind of like lacrosse on a broomstick with magic.
DK on the sports tip, Monday through Fridays at 3 right here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
If you have old windows, they are probably driving up your energy bills. Upgrade with new windows from the Window Depot. The Window Depot provides unbeatable value and a wide variety of in-stock and custom order windows to fit your style and budget. With our exclusive SI window brand made right here in the USA, you'll get a full lifetime warranty, including glass replacement, for ultimate peace of mind. Order online at thewindowdepot.com or visit a location near you and start your project today. Experience the best prices, the biggest inventory, only at the Window Depot.
Sure do love this time of year.
Me too. People smiling at each other, sun is shining.
Everybody singing those holiday songs.
Holiday songs?
We're talking about Alaska vacation season, right?
Yeah, but
there aren't any Alaska vacation songs. Oh, wait.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Like angels from the heavens.
Not even close to that.
But when Alaskan AC performs our exclusive Alaska vacation, it's primed and prepped for the coming summer heat.
And every Alaska vacation comes with our guarantee of no breakdowns all summer long.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Still no angels.
But people love singing it. Come on. If you want your AC to last...
No.
Do we have to sing?
Yes. All summer long with an Alaska
No.
Okay, but don't come crying to me if you Scrooges don't get anything from the Alaska Vacation Bunny.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
This is Zach Gelb with the Sports Minute, sponsored by TGL, presented by SoFi. Tune in every week for TGL matches. It appears the Minnesota Vikings are out on Aaron Rodgers, and now we'll wait until he decides on either the New York Giants or Pittsburgh Steelers. And quite frankly, the longer this goes on, the more and more Aaron Rodgers fatigue I have. And wherever Aaron goes, he isn't winning another Super Bowl again, so I'd be more than fine if he passes on the Giants and Steelers and elects to retire from playing in the NFL. I'm Zach Gelb.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
You've got questions? O'Reilly Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We've got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. Deep automotive knowledge. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Tuned in all across North America, listening on the free Odyssey.
DK on the Sports Tip. Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Final chance for today. Tomorrow's a game day, so this wraps up DK on the Sports Tip for this week. We'll be back with you on Monday after the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament. Of course, we've got game day tomorrow. Arizona men's basketball, 1 o'clock. Will be our coverage, 4:30 tip-off, Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona game day at 1. All right, we want you to hear Tommy Lloyd. Tommy Lloyd was on with Jim Rome earlier this afternoon. It's your Desert Diamond Casino replay. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook. It is Arizona's best bet. Let's hear from Tommy and Jim this afternoon.
Arizona is 22-12, 14-6 in Big 12 play. They are the 4th seed in the East region, where they take on number 13 Akron tomorrow. We are joined right now by Tommy Lloyd. Tommy, I know that you worked hard to jump on with us today. I appreciate the hustle and the energy. Tommy, what's going on? How you feeling?
Jim, I'm good. I'm good. Good to be with you. Hey, it's an honor to be speaking at you this time of year, especially when you're still playing. Because I know a lot of times you're filling these time slots with some coaches who aren't in the tournament, so I feel fortunate to still be alive.
Well, you are absolutely still alive. In fact, it is go time. You know this better than anybody. It is go time. So let me ask you this, Tommy. There may have been a few challenges at the end of the season, but right now, as you and I talk, how are you feeling about your team right now, and what was the first thing you thought of when you saw your bracket come up?
Well, I mean, the first thing is you're always proud when you see your name pop up. You know, we started out the season a little bit slow this year. We lost a few games early. We went into a new conference. And, we had to battle. I think we ended up taking third in the Big 12, made it to the championship game. So we're proud of the strides we've made. But, when your name pops up in that bracket, I mean, first off, the feeling is like a little bit of relief. We're here, and now it's like, let's get to it. You know, and as a coach, you throw the seeds out of the line, you know, out, you know, that doesn't matter. These are games. They start 0-0. You're going to be playing a team that's probably won 20 or 21 games, so they're going to be confident and feeling good. So, you know, you got to come out and you got to be ready to battle for 40 minutes.
Spoken like somebody who's been there before. Tommy Lloyd joining us. And Tom, you mentioned the transition to the Big 12. I'm curious. There's so much made about the SEC. Understandably, they did get 14 teams in. A lot of talk about the Big 10. Tell me about the Big 12. What was that transition like for you? And then secondarily, do you think it adequately prepared you for what's ahead?
Well, for sure. I mean, well, listen, the Big 12 was a monster. You know, I mean, it was, I think we played 23 games in the Big 12, counting the conference tournament, and 17 of them were quad ones. And you know, every time you go on the road, the game's sold out. It's going to be a battle. You know, every time you come at home, it's an event, you know, and these other teams have great coaches and great players. So, you know, competitively, it was a real challenge, but it was awesome. You know, it was awesome. We really embraced it and loved being a part of it, and look forward to growing within the Big 12.
All right, so again, it's out of your control completely. You're not going to focus on what you can't control, but when you saw that draw, when you saw that bracket, what did you think?
You know, I felt like it was good. Hey, listen, obviously, you know, I know John Gross is a good coach at Akron, and, you know, they've had a heck of a season and a good run of 3 or 4 years. You know, they're a team that is committed to a style of play. They're a great three-point shooting team. They play with great pace and tempo. And listen, I've been in this tournament a lot of years. And, you know, a few years ago, you know, we were, I think we ended as a 2 seed and played a very good Princeton team as a 15, and we ended up on the wrong end of it. So I got nothing but respect for these programs. And like I said, we're throwing the seeds out the window, and it's going to be 2 teams battling for 40 minutes, and the score starts 0-0. You know, let's get to it.
You know, I hear what you're saying. I want you to make sure that you know that I hear what you're saying, but I'm looking at them. Okay, we'll throw the seeds out. They don't look like a typical 13, though, do they? They're the MAC Conference champs. They're one of the hottest teams in the country. They've won 21 of 22, so they don't look like a typical 13 to me. Knowing what you know about them, what have you told your team about them? Because you know they're going to get out and they're going to try and push it, right? They're going to play up tempo.
We told our guys, like, listen, this is a team that has experience and confidence, and they have a belief in what they do. So they're going to come out with some swag, and so expect the battle. And our guys know that. You know, we've had, you know, moments this season where maybe we didn't come out with the effort and energy we needed. I think we've learned those lessons. So, like I said, we're just dialed into Akron. So when you ask me about the bracket, listen, I barely know what the next game looks like. So as a coach, I'm probably not the best bracketologist. You know, you can deal with your XR4TI crew on that stuff. But for me, I just want to get to it.
Yo, I got you, Coach. Respect. I know you are where your feet are, and you are worried about Akron. I'll let the XR4TI worry about the rest of that stuff, and me too. Listen, I've heard you talk about the Big 12 being a, quote, target league. That's interesting. For those who are not familiar with that concept, what does that mean, that it's a target league?
Well, targeting, is something that we grow up watching the NBA a lot, where teams will pick on matchups, individually. And, obviously it's kind of like, coming down to the college level where, a lot of these coaches in the Big 12 are comfortable picking out a matchup, figuring out a way to get to that matchup, isolating that matchup and living with it. So, I just thought that was interesting, kind of for my first time and as a college coach, and I've been doing this for 26 years, I really felt that it was like really an intentional thing that was happening every single game. So, you've got to learn how to adjust and tilt your defense to kind of get the matchups you want as well. And interesting stuff for sure.
I was going to say, Tommy, it's a game of matchups. We know that. But that whole notion of it being a target league, you don't see that very often in college ball, do you?
No, not much. The defensive rules are different in college where you can kind of load up, defense, the defense of 3 seconds and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, you usually don't have the players that are as good individually as those NBA players. Those NBA guys, come on. You got the Kevin Durant's, the James Harden. These dudes are a bucket, and a lot of times the best thing you can do on offense is get out of your way. And in college, if a guy's usually to do that, he's not around long. He's usually a freshman that goes to the pro game. So, the college game has always been a little bit more of a ball movement, team-oriented game. And but you're seeing some of that isolation stuff start coming down to our level.
Tommy Lloyd, speaking the truth, he's joining us, Arizona head basketball coach. Tommy, when you and I last spoke, it was in May, and you were coaching the U19 national team for USA Basketball, and it wasn't clear at that time if All-American guard Caleb Love would come back for another year or head to the NBA. He, of course, decided to stay. How different a player is he now than he was a year ago? And what kind of thoughts do you have about the year he's had so far?
Well, Caleb's a special guy, and you know what? He got off to a slow start this season. And sometimes I think when have talented guys like him come back for that extra year, especially now this 5th COVID year, I think it's tougher than people think. And he hit some hurdles early, maybe lost a little bit of confidence, and then we kind of had to build it back up. But the last month or so, I'm really happy with the way he's been playing. I mean, he's my ride or die. And we have other great players too, but Caleb's made a commitment to our program, and we've made a commitment to him that that we're going to do this thing together, and we're not going to half step it. And obviously, when Caleb plays well, we're a better team.
We are talking to Tommy Lloyd now. Tommy, you're getting ready to take on Akron. We know this. I'm a West Coast guy. I was born and raised in L.A. I'm proud of it. Never mind apologizing for it. Never, man. I'm proud of it. But, man, when it comes to the tourney, we West Coast types get wrapped pretty hard. How much of that criticism do you think is valid and legit? And then how much of that is just kind of bullcrap?
That's great. Well, I would just say this. I know there hasn't been a national champion in the West Coast for a lot of years. And I would say, listen, from a pure population standpoint, we don't have as many teams out here. And so I think it's tougher, from that. But I mean, when's the last time the Big Ten won one, right? It's been a minute too, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
So, I mean, listen, hey, all that stuff, it's great fodder, great stuff to talk about. Here's the deal. I was at Gonzaga. We were almost there 2 times. It's going to happen. It's going to be done. And I want it to happen at Arizona.
Tommy Lloyd joining us. Speaking of Gonzaga, I talked to your guy, Mark Few, this week or last week. Fewy, man, he's feeling pretty good. And he had a chip on his shoulder. He loves his team. He loves where he's at. They're playing right now. I don't know. Have you communicated with him recently? And what was your sense of the vibe that he was throwing off? Because I was feeling like a guy who, man, he felt good, but he was confident and he was even more aggressive than normal. That was my interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Mark Few is a great coach. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and he does a great job preparing his team for these tournaments. I mean, I think they've been to 9 straight Sweet 16s, which is amazing. I mean, you're talking legendary stuff right there. So he knows how to win these games in these tournaments, and he has confidence. I mean, obviously, I think they probably already tipped off against Georgia. I mean, obviously, you're interrupting my time to watch this game, so I don't know what's going on, but I'll guarantee you this. The Zags will give a good effort against a good Georgia team, and then, if they can find a way to get through that, I think they're a team that can really challenge Houston.
Hey, Tommy, I'm interrupting.
All right, that is Tommy Lloyd earlier this afternoon on the Jim Rome Show. If you want to hear that in its entirety, we'll have that up on our website, WildcatsRadio1290.com. That is going to wrap up our show for today. So don't forget, we're with you tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. We'll start getting you ready for the Wildcats and the Akron Zips. Tip off with Brian Jeffries at 4:30. Thanks to all the folks that were part of this show today. Thanks to Jordan Ham from Sports 360 AZ, Lori Burkhart from All Sports Tucson, Desiree Reed-Francois, Athletics Director at the U of A, for J-Dub, for Dragon Ball. My name is David Kelly. That's our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Arizona women's basketball happening right now. Turn us off, turn on 1400, and support your Wildcat ladies. Bear down, Arizona. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
From the AutoNation Honda and BMW Tucson Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. We have an accident with possible injuries reported at East Tanca Verde Road and East Catalina Highway. Most of the slowing here on eastbound Tanca Verde as you approach that cross street. Also, Tucson Boulevard still closed north of Prince Road. This is due to the water work they're doing there through the month of May. Your weather right now, we're currently about 75 degrees, continuing to cool off at 9 o'clock. We'll be into the 60s at 61. I'm Dragon Ball with you, Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Rocket. Rocket is giving every home one address. Rocket.com, a single seamless home ownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, even refinance your home. Everything you need, all under one roof. Visit Rocket.com, the new home for all things home ownership. Rocket, own the dream.
All right, she's inside. Are you good?
Yeah. It's just, she's my baby girl,
I do, and ceramic coating was a good choice.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Yep, I know.
Recon Auto Detailing. Enhance or restore your baby to her former glory with paint recondition, ceramic coating, paint protection, tinting, and more for full protection of your vehicle inside and out. New cars, old cars, we love them all. Recon Auto Detailing, 3829 North Oracle Road, Tucson. ReconDetail.com.
Marco Polo.
Hoping to find new customers online can feel like playing Marco Polo in the dark.
Plumber.
Right here.
Plumber.
Right here.
Let Cumulus Boost help spotlight your business. Boost your website. Boost your findability. Boost your reputation. Boost your business. Get a boost. Get found. Get on the map. Contact us today at cumulusboost.com.
Don't miss out on any of the action as the University of Arizona takes on the Big 12 Conference.
Going for Lewis, and KJ slams it home for 2. Timeout.
You're listening to the flagship home of Arizona Wildcats Athletics. Wildcats Radio 1290.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Sure do love this time of year.
Me too. People smiling at each other. Sun is shining.
Everybody singing those holiday songs.
Holiday songs?
We're talking about Alaska vacation season, right?
Yeah, but
there aren't any Alaska vacation songs. Oh, wait.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Like angels from the heavens.
Not even close to that.
But when Alaskan AC performs our exclusive Alaska vacation, it's primed and prepped for the coming summer heat.
And every Alaska vacation comes with our guarantee of no breakdowns all summer long.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Still no angels.
But people love singing it. Come on. If you want your AC to last...
No.
Do we have to sing?
Yes. All summer long with an Alaska
No.
Okay, but don't come crying to me if you Scrooges don't get anything from the Alaska Vacation Bunny.
If you want your AC to last all summer long, with an Alaska vacation, it will always blow strong.
Friday at 4:30, it's Arizona and Akron in the NCAA tournament.
KJ Lewis, a step through by Lewis, and KJ lays it in.
Pregame coverage begins at 1 on your home for Arizona basketball. Wildcats Radio, 1290.
Hi, Alex Medina, owner of Oral Ford. I was just saying to my ad agency the other day, if I could just get people to go to my website, they'd see the transparency. They'd see I don't have dealer add-ons, that my advertised discounts are on all my vehicles, not just a select few. I said to him, if I could just get people to go to oralford.com, they'd see the rebates are crystal clear and you save thousands with 2% lower taxes. It's all right there. My website is oralford.com.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos, and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze Fruit on the Go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Your home for everything Arizona Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290, KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station.
You're listening to the JR Sport Brief.
It is the JR Sport Brief Show here with you coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. I'm coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you to everybody tuned in all over North America. And thank you as well to our producer holding it down tonight, Greg Frank in New York City. It's the first day of spring. And it's not just the first day of spring. It's the first full day of March Madness. Yes, college basketball has taken over the United States of America, and we just had a score that just went final. Tennessee beat Wofford, and I'll give you an update on some of these other games in a second, like Kansas taking the lead against Arkansas 65-64. Yeah, I'll give you an update on all the action in a minute. This show gets started every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. How can you listen? You can tune in on your local Infinity Sports Network affiliate. You can listen on the free Odyssey app. Yeah, the app is free. You don't got to pay a dime. Thank you to people on SiriusXM 375. And oh yeah, by the way, if you got a smart speaker, ask the speaker to play the Infinity Sports Network. We've had a busy show. Hey, thank you to our guest. Came through and joined us earlier on. Bill Bender from the Sporting News covers all things college basketball. I'll be hanging out here with you for one more hour. If you missed a second or a minute of the show, you can go ahead and hit rewind on the free Odyssey app. Man, this is a good game that we got right now. Kansas is just taking the lead against the Razorbacks.
Who would you take in a fight, a Razorback or a Jayhawk?
Say again?
Razorback or a Jayhawk? Who are you taking in that animal fight?
Oh, man. Aren't Razorbacks, wouldn't they be as thin, would be thicker, right? Like,
you would think.
Right? I don't know. What is a Jayhawk gonna do? What does a Jayhawk do? I don't know.
Yeah, they can get away fast because they can fly and move quickly, but they're not going to really attack well, right?
I don't know. Every photo I see here of a Jayhawk is from the school, so I don't know. Is it just a hawk? I mean, what is it? I don't know. Yeah, I'm taking a wild animal from Arkansas. How about that? I'll go with that one. Right now at this minute, there's about 4 minutes left to go in the game. Kansas leads 67-64. So we'll keep you up to date on that one. We just told you about Tennessee beating Wofford 77-62. And with that victory, Tennessee punches its ticket to the round of 32. They await the winner between Utah State and UCLA. Some of the other active games that we have going on right now this second. Texas A&M leads Yale 58-50. A matter of fact, 58-50. And then we have Drake that has the lead over Missouri right now, 30-23. We have some other games that have gone final earlier in the day. Houston beat SIUE to advance and take on Gonzaga. Gonzaga beat up on Georgia. We also, and this is not probably. This is the biggest upset that we gotten so far in the tournament today. McNeese beat Clemson 69-67. This is the one that probably destroyed a lot of people's brackets. That's the one that a lot of people did not expect to happen. Clemson only scored 13 points in the first half. And so McNeese has its first ever win in the NCAA tournament. And I feel like the biggest star on McNeese right now isn't Will Wade. It's not nobody in a uniform. It's their manager who has NIL deals and walks out to the court with I don't know if they still call it a boombox, but he has a boombox. He's wearing chains. His name is Amir Khan. God bless him. Will Wade might be leaving, and so Amir could take over as their head coach when Will Wade goes on to North Carolina State. And so next up for McNeese is Purdue. Purdue beat High Point 75-63. And so this is probably the best game, the best matchup, the biggest surprise that we've gotten so far in the tournament. A matter of fact, I want you to listen to the final call as McNeese held on to beat Clemson. This is all courtesy of Westwood One.
Clemson with the ball down 4, 10 seconds to go. Front court Hunter, over to Zachary, got a launch. Banker 3, won't go, loose, scrum, Hunter, drives, lays it in at the buzzer, it's not enough. McNeese with the upset. Let the March Madness begin.
Let the March Madness, it has all begun. All day today, all day tomorrow, or Saturday, on Sunday, workplace productivity has just gone ahead and completely hit the toilet. And so up next for McNeese is Purdue, who I told you beat High Point 75-63. That was to be expected. unfortunately for Purdue, they know about disappointing losses and choking. They've done quite a lot of that over the past, let's just say, 10 years. But their head coach, Matt Painter, knowing what comes next and knowing where they're at, he enjoys playing basketball earlier in the day as opposed to late at night.
It's definitely better to play early. If you have that late game, it's torture. Yeah, for everybody. Like, if you haven't been through it, like, I think it'd be hard to understand that statement. But if you ask any...